Hello and welcome to 74th session of Level Up. And yeah, that's beautiful, Dan. And this time we're here with obviously Dan Luvisi. Dan is a digital concept artist working in film, video game, and comic book industry, and creator of the worlds such as Last Man Standing and Redemption. He also created a hilarious pop culture series that I think we are all familiar with. Yeah, so hey Dan, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Jesus Christ, that drawing, man. Just
I thought I should give you guys a little something for your introduction.
We are here today with Jonas De Ro and Darek Zabrocki as well, and me, Wojtek. So we have a lot of stuff prepared for you today. We are going to go through Dan's early work. I think we are going to hear about the beginnings of LMS, and we have a lot of questions from you that we are going to answer from the Facebook event page, and also hopefully see some live painting, drawing. So yeah, let's get started. So Dan, what about seeing your very early work and looking at those beginnings, when all of that happened?
Yeah, so I'll start with some of my. I mean, should I give a little backstory on where I did this all?
Yeah, that would be great. Exactly, that's what I wanted to ask in the first place.
Yeah, so pretty much I've been drawing ever since I could remember. My father was an artist, but unfortunately he had to stop pursuing that career when his father passed away due to pancreatic cancer. And instead he became a businessman and just never went into it, or never went back to art. And then one day, obviously I was born, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it's like the earliest memory that I have was drawing for the first time. And I was with my dad. I was lying on the ground in the living room, and it was right before he was about to leave for work, and we had a Ninja Turtle book open that I really liked. And he was drawing one of the characters that was called, I think his name was either Lockjaw or something else. Anyways, he was a crocodile wearing jean shorts and like an orange vest and a brown hat on. And my dad drew the whole thing out. I loved it. And, I told him that I was going to draw it by the time he got back from work that day. And he was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And he left. And when he came back, my mom was holding up the picture that I drew, and I inked and I colored it. But it was obviously terrible. I was like 3 or 4 years old. But right there, that's when he created a monster.
It started that early.
Yeah. But, it was going to be a really hard road, that I was about to go on. I had a lot of problems growing up. I was actually held back a year or two in school because of a lot of surgery I was having done on me. I don't really remember what it was. I remember being in the operating room, but there was stuff being done on, like, my ear and everything. So, unfortunately, I missed a year in school. And then when I went in, I had really bad ADD and ADHD and just could not focus. And I wasn't one of those kids that was just trying to use that as an excuse so I could goof off. Like, I literally, like, there's videos of me as a kid, and I'm just not shaking, but, like, I can't stay still. I'm looking around everywhere. I'm, like, super excited, and just nothing is working on the left side of my head. And while, like, all my teachers were trying to get me to do this and that, I just wanted to draw, and I wanted to build stuff, and I wanted to see weird things and draw dinosaurs and all that. And a lot of my teachers saw this as, kind of like a weakness. And, they would bring my mom in. I'll never forget that, like sitting outside of my classroom waiting for my mom to talk to my teachers, and she would storm out of the office and be like super mad and grab me by the arm and put me in the car and just be like, fuck them. Like, I was like, what did they say? And she was like, they're saying that you'll be lucky if you get to work like at a McDonald's one day. And I was like, well, that sucks. So, like growing up through, especially, elementary school and then going into middle school is tough for me. Like art was the only thing that I ever really considered myself good at. And, like I stuck to it, and it was kind of my escape. My parents eventually divorced when I was 9, and it was really tough for me during that period because, I don't know if you guys have ever gone through a divorce with your parents, but
Yeah, I did.
It sucks to watch your family break apart at a young age. And, I had the evil stepmom, the one that we all see in the bad movies. I had that stepmom, yeah.
Classic.
That would, like, take me into her room when my dad was gone and be like, that your dad thinks you're a mistake, right? And I'd be like, what? And she'd be like, he doesn't want you here, and neither does your mom, but we have to because of what the court says. So, and then she would like, yeah. and I was like 9 years old. There even came a point where she like framed me. We're at our friend's house, and we're getting ready to leave. And I'll admit, I was being kind of annoying. I kept on asking my dad over and over and over to take me to my friend's place, and she was getting mad. So when we're about to leave, and my dad was about to take me to my friend's place, she was like, "Danny, go get your sweater." Picked up my sweater, and all these toys fell out of it. And they were the kids' toys that were at that house. And she was like, what are you doing? What are those? Did you take those? And I was like, no. And I didn't. And I got grounded for a week, and I didn't get to see my friend. And it was like that type of shit for about 2 years. And, you know, like I would just always go to art to get away from that. And, you know, eventually we got the fuck rid of her. And my dad was like, all right, she's crazy. Let's get that out. And then once we moved past that, you know, I wasn't doing well in school. I didn't really have, you know, I would never degrade my parents, but they were busy. And, you know, like I didn't really have anyone to help me with school, and I failed middle school. And because of that, they wanted to hold me back again. And then one of my dad was like, we can't have that happen. So he moved me away from all my friends, away from my mom's side, and I went and lived with him for my years in high school. And that was probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done, because I didn't want to move away. You know, like I loved all my friends. I had great friends back there, and that sucked. And going to a new school sucked, and not knowing anyone sucked. And you know, like I pushed through it. I met some people that were pretty cool, but again, art was my escape. Until eventually one day when I was 15, I opened up this video game magazine, and I saw a painting. And here, I'll show you guys what that painting was, because it changed my life. So it was by Justin Sweet, who, if you don't know him, shame on you. And where is it? It was this. I'll cover this dick picture.
Cool.
So it's this picture. And I saw this in a game magazine, and I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't know how it was done. It didn't look traditional. There was just something about it. And this was 15 years ago. You know, like, so this stuff really wasn't that popular online. You know, it was either an oil painting or a comic colors, or there was never this. And I saw this, and, you know, I ran downstairs to my dad, and I was like, I want to do this, and I don't know what it is, but I want to do it. And he was like, all right, well, figure out how he did it. And I did some research, and I came to find out that he used a Wacom tablet, or at the time, I don't even think really Wacom was around. I think it was a Graphire or whatever. And, you know, I told my dad about it. He went for my birthday. He picked me up the tablet. I'll show you guys the tablet. It was nothing like the one I have now.
So that was what, like 2000, early 2000? No.
Yeah. I think it was like 2000. Here it is right here. So, yeah, 2015 years ago. So yeah, that was my tablet. And, you know, like the first day I got it, I sucked. You know, like I was super excited to try it. I plugged it in, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like my lines were super squiggly, and you know, like imagine using a tablet for the first time.
Oh yeah,
like,
I remember that.
Fucking Craig Mullins. So, you know, like so I was trying to do it, and it just was not working. And I remember I drew like a little dragon, and I colored it in like a blue shade. I was like, that's cool. I'm like, but I want to like add color. I want to be like, you know, Justin Sweet. Not happening. And eventually I gave up, and I was just like, I can't do this. This shit sucks. It all looks stupid and whatever. And I remember going down to do my chores that day, and I was like picking weeds out of the backyard. And as I was picking weeds, I was just like, no, how many people have told me, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I went back upstairs and pretty much taught myself. And this is back in the day. This is why artists now, young artists, have it so easy, because we didn't have Gumroads. We didn't have these schools. You know, like there was art schools, but they weren't really doing this. And, you know, like a lot of my teachers thought that this type of technology would never amount to anything. You know, like I had art teachers go like, why are you using that thing? No one's ever going to use that. I was like, well, they will one day. Mm-hmm. And like you can see what's happening now. And, you know, but like I was the one that was just constantly trying to push it in my school. No one else was really trying to do it. And then eventually we got the hang of things. And then from there, I guess I can show you guys the art that I've done.
So we are still in early 2000s, and yeah, these are the really first Wacoms that we
2002. I'm looking at the date right now. So yeah, let me show you. I'll just go them. So this was like literally the first picture that I ever did. This is it. And I was like, all right, you know, I think I got it down. And I was competent enough. You can see little squigglies in the lines because the tablet was so shitty back then, and there was no pressure sensitivity or anything really. But yeah, this is my first one, and I was like, I think I got a hang of it. I was trying to figure out, I guess, what brushes, even though it only looks like there's 2 used here. But yeah, like this is my first one, and then eventually I did it. Yeah, let's show that crappy Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah, the Tom Hanks one.
I did the ugly Tom Hanks.
I love that lost edge on the cheek.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I at the time thought this was cool. I was like, wow, I understand it. I think I know what I'm doing. And then eventually I started to get into somewhat of colors, if you can call it that.
So, where were you looking for knowledge back then? Because it was really hard to get anything.
Like DeviantArt, because I've been on DeviantArt for 13 years now. DeviantArt back then, I stocked DeviantArt without a username for a while, and then eventually I was like, all right, I need to get one. So I've been looking at DeviantArt, for like 15 years now, and there was nothing. None of this stuff existed. It was really like abstract art. Let me show you something real quick.
Trippy thing.
Yeah, let me find something from Okay, here we go. Oh my god, this is a fucking time travel right now. So yeah, this is what was everywhere on DeviantArt. No anime, no furries, no naked chicks, none of that stuff. This is what was on DeviantArt. This is all DeviantArt was stuff like this. And it's because there were wallpapers. And you could put them on, and that was the cool shit back then. And I wanted to do this, but I just didn't know what it was. I was like, I don't know how to do this stuff. I don't know how to use 3D programs. Stuff like this was huge back then. And by huge, I mean getting 100 faves. that was big time. That meant you were really popular on DeviantArt because there wasn't that many members at the time. Yeah. So everyone was doing that, and so you couldn't really, oh, I remember I tried to copy this at one point. Everyone was trying to do this stuff, and I obviously couldn't. So there really wasn't much to look at. I mean, you had photos that you could use as reference, but I can't remember anyone that was really doing digital art. The only person that I knew at the time that was doing it alongside me was, Kai Ukitakamuki. You guys all know. Kai and I were pretty much drawing around the same time. Mm-hmm. And, we would pass stuff back and forth. I really wanted to be him. I was here. Let me get some of his younger work. So he would always show me his stuff, and then I would pass him stuff back and forth. Here, you guys would know this piece. This is Kai's newest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You've seen this
Warhammer.
Stuff. Yeah. But yeah, back then Kai was doing. Let me get to it. Back in the day. Kai was doing these gas mask soldiers and these little marine things. And I was like, these are so cool. I want to do stuff like that. But here, so look at what he has now. And then this is back in the day. And he was doing these things. And I was like, these are really cool. So we could pass art back and forth. But other than that, I didn't really have any friends that were doing art. This stuff. I mean, there was no art community. I mean, the community that we have now on Facebook is very recent. It started around the time, there was always a community on Facebook, but do you guys remember when I did, the LMS book, and then I had all those artists get on board? Jonas, you were part of that. When all these artists started getting around, we went from having 60 pictures in the book, around 65 in the book, to having over 500 submissions. And that's when I started seeing all these artists working together. And then right after that, AJ, Anthony Jones, did his Kickstarter. And then that blew up. And then I started seeing artists sharing a lot more work and then working with each other and helping each other. But back then, in 2000, there wasn't jack shit. You'd be lucky if you could find another person trying to do it. So it was really hard. And I think that was why it took me so long eventually to get to a stage that I was happy with my work. I mean, it took me at least 5 years. So now I see some artists go oh, I've only been using Photoshop for 2 months. And they have these amazing paintings. I'm like, fuck you. It took me so long to figure all this stuff out because I didn't know how to use Photoshop. I didn't know what these certain settings did. So, but at the same time, it was fun to learn all that stuff on my own and figure it out through trial and error. And then eventually, gradually watch as my work started to improve. And I started to understand what I was doing, and it wasn't just going like, I hope this works. So yeah. But yeah, let me show you like, you know, some of my mid work. So I showed you guys around 2002, 2003, and then in 2004, I have a piece.
That's when YouTube launched, right? Somewhere back then.
Yeah, but I never could answer that either. And then, yeah, like in 2004, oh god, this is terrible. But in 2004, you know, like I started to at least get a hang of it, and you know, like I still didn't really know how to use color, but I was knowing, like I knew somewhat what I was doing. And then as we, you know,
sunbeams.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you know, like you see all these pictures of like sparks everywhere and all that stuff. Dude, Rita and I were doing that shit way back in the day. Like that was our thing. You know, like so then this is when I was like, all right, you know, like I think I know what I'm doing. And this one was in, let's see. Oh, that wasn't even that one. It was in 2005. And then this picture, let me get that King Kong one. I did a King Kong picture where I was like, all right, I know, like I got a handle on it. This picture. So this was around when I graduated high school. I think so, like, or maybe like a year after. But right before that, I graduated high school, and this part is important to the story. My dad, throughout high school, was always telling me, like, don't do art. Not that, like, don't stop doing or drawing or painting, but you got to figure out what your career is going to be. You got to go to college. You got to do this and that. And, you know, like, I was always thinking, I don't want to do that. You know, like, I want to draw. I want to paint. I want to do this for a living. This is what I'm into. And, you know, like, at the same time, I was really into writing. I love to, you know, kind of, like, build up fake little worlds and then draw pictures with them, which would one day become LMS, little did I know. But at the time, it was just always for fun. So while my dad was always telling me, like, you know, you're going to be lucky if you get a job right when you get out of high school, in a way, even though, like, he was being very aggressive with me and, you know, like, kind of pushing me, I think, like, at the time, I always saw that as him being a bad dad. I was always like, would you treat your son like that and this and that, right? Because it sounds like he's just being harsh. But now, being an adult, being able to look back at those situations, I think that my dad was just trying to protect his son. You know, like, he didn't want me to go down what he went through. Okay. And I think it was a bit of an insecurity, and he didn't want me to get hurt. So, you know, but in a way, what he didn't know is that he was, like I said, he was creating this monster that was constantly being challenged to be better and to do more. And to, like, nothing was ever good enough for me. So what happened is I graduated high school. I had saved up all of my lunch money for those 4 years. So I had about, like, $10,000 bucks. And,
it's a lot of lunch money.
Lunch money, well, think about it. If I'm getting about $20 a week, food back then wasn't that expensive, so I could get my lunch for, like, $2, $3. And, you know, like, sometimes I would just make lunch early in the morning. And then I would also save up my allowance. So, yeah, by the time I was done, yeah, I had a lot of money. I got out of school. I went and I moved out, and I lived with my mom for, like, a couple months, got my shit together, and then I moved in with my friend. And, like, within 2 weeks after school, I get a call going, hey, we want you to come work for us. And I was like, yeah, I told you, Dad. And I got this art job. It was for this German company. And within 3 days, I got fired. And I realized that, you know, deadlines were not going to work with me. I really needed to get a handling on how to work professionally because I was like, they gave me 4 character sheets in environment, and I'm not an environment artist. And, like, you know, I was just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know, so, yeah, I mishandled it and got fired. And then from there, I worked a lot of really lame jobs. And jobs that just were not cutting it. You know, like, I was working for people that would pay me in, like, Best Buy coupons. Some guy, like, you know, this guy, Matt, and I don't know if he's listening, he watches my stuff, but this guy, Matt, I was doing artwork for him. He gave me a scanner for one of the pictures. And, like, I was never actually getting money for it. And my savings, my lunch savings, were dwindling. And, you know, like, my dad would constantly call in and be like, how are things going? Is everything working out? I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about me. Or I'm, like, stressing the fuck out for rent money and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And then at that time, I was living with my girlfriend. And I had moved over to another city away from, like, my family and my friends and everything. So I'm in this little hot apartment trying to get all this shit together, and just nothing is working. So at the final hour, I quit. I mean, like, I quit trying to do art. and I got a job bagging groceries at a grocery store, and that was very humbling for me. You know, like I went in there thinking like, oh, I'm the shit. I can draw. I can do whatever. Like I should be getting a job at a studio. Like what the fuck? And I go into that place, and I'll never forget it. But bagging groceries really kicked all of that out of me. And seeing people look in my face after I pack their shit and just say like, "Have a good day, sir," and then they just look at me like I'm nothing, and then walk away. I was like, wow, like I can't do this. Like I need to do art. It was just another little lesson of me going like, get back in there. So at that point, I got fired from the grocery store as well because I told them I wanted to go to like school for a bit and get some classes in. They're like, we need people that are serious about this job, and I was like, dude, it's bagging groceries. So I got, fuck me, right? And so I left that, and then I went to school. It wasn't like an art school or anything. It was just some like junior college that was some cheap little school. I took some art classes. They were all dumb. They were all doing charcoal and everything, and I was trying to do this stuff. And nothing was just like coming together. And then I realized that my dad was right. And then finally, I got the phone call that would change my life. And it was from my mom, and she was like, look, I know this guy that knows this guy. He's seen your work. He wants to talk to you. You should have him give you a call. And I was like, yeah, sure. So one day I get a call from Stefan. And Stefan's a German friend of one of my mom's friends. And he's like, hey, I saw this picture online, the one that's on the screen. And he was like, I would love to work with you. I'm doing some stuff for like a Marvel type project. And I want to know if you could do storyboards. And I was like, oh, yeah, anything. So he's like, cool, let me meet you like next week. So we met over at a Starbucks, and he came in, and I had no money, so he bought me a sandwich. And he was like, hey, I want you to do some storyboards for me. How long would that take you? And I was like, what do you need? And I ended up doing like literally like 30 pages in the room with him. And right there he was like, wow, okay, we should talk and about like trying to figure out more stuff we can do together. And I was like, yeah, for sure. So that night we stayed up on the phone like two little girls until like 3 a.m. And we were just talking about all these dreams we had to one day build a studio, to one day have a place where other artists could make IPs and build this and that. And like, I'll never forget it. Like it was the day that we spawned what Section 9 could be. And now seeing where we're at now, which I'll get to, it's cool looking back. And like we're like, we want to do this and that, but we kept on going, are these dreams too big? Like, can we really build this? And I was like, I don't know. And Stefan told me, he's like, every time I have an idea, people tell me it's too big. They say it's a pipe dream. And he's like, if I can get your abilities with my business sense, like I think we can do this. And then I was like, well, I'll tell you right now, I have your back 100% if you have mine. And then he's like, let's do it. So what he did is he wanted me to come down to Santa Monica. And Santa Monica is where I live now, where he lived. And he's like, if you're down here, I can introduce you to people. We can start working with more people and do this and that. So I did that for a bit. I moved down. I took my little jump, and I moved with my girlfriend into Stefan's apartment because I couldn't afford rent down there at the time. And he's like, just do art for me. I'll pay you, and I'll keep you afloat. And I was like, you know what? That sounds fair. I don't have to work in a studio. I don't have to stress out. I don't care if I'm not getting paid my rates. I get to live comfortably and paint. So I lived there. I drew for him a bit. He got me my first job on this movie, which I'm sure you guys have all seen. Let me show you.
In the meantime, I just have a small question regarding those early times when you were really motivated by like really negative things in your life, and I was trying to figure it out. How does it work when you are getting fueled by all these people throwing shit at you?
Because my dad always told me to be my own boss. And my dad, like, I've watched my dad. I don't mean to get too personal with him because I don't want to like put him on blast or anything. But my dad had everything when I was young. We had the 3 cars. We had the really nice house behind the gated community. And I'm not trying to brag because you'll see what comes. We had everything. Like we had those big Christmases that all kids want. And then I watched my dad lose it. I watched, like he got betrayed by his business partner, and it all fell apart one day. And I watched my dad go from having everything to having nothing. And I realized at that point that money's not shit. I don't care about that. Money will come if you work for it. It's all about, dedication and perseverance. And I watched my dad going from having everything to having nothing, literally, by himself. I won't tell you to what extent. But then I watched him rise back up in that fight. And I saw that at a very young age. And seeing that, it just reminded me a lot of myself. Every time I had someone say, you're not good enough, you know, you can't do this and that. Like, I had teachers, like, grab me by my hair and, like, put me in the corner and be like, you know, like, you're a dummy. And then just, like, go and talk to their other students. And having all that happen, I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Just back down? And, like, you know, like, just take it? And, you know, like, believe them, what they're saying? Fuck no. It's like, you know, like, I can't wait till those guys see Gabriel on the advertisements one day and see my name. And that's why I do this, because I want to prove to it, but not only that, lead by example and show that it's possible. Because I'm not the only one out there that's been told those things or been treated that way. And there's a lot of kids out there that take the, you know, instead of going left, they go right, and they go down the wrong path because they didn't have those people to push them and inspire them. And every now and then I had that one person that was like, I think you can do it. And I think if you work a little harder, you can get to that point. And
do you think you could get to the point where you are without those really negative things? Like, I mean, do we need this bully somewhere at some point? That will...
You know, like, I mean, I don't know. It depends on, there's all different types of people. You know, like, I was talking to Shaddy once, Shaddy Spotty, and we were having lunch, and he told me, you know, there's two types of artists. There's those that are content designing stuff, and then there's those that have something to say. So I don't think that road of having the bully to push you is for everyone, because some people have the easy life. You know, I don't even say easy, but where they have the support they need, they don't have the bullies, they go to school, they work, and they get the job they wanted because they worked hard for it. But I wanted more than that. And having all those people tell me you can't do this and that has only inspired me to do it. So, like, you know, like, that's the thing, is that when people look at, like, trolls and people that speak negatively about them and they, like, look at it as, like, a down thing, I'm like, dude, fucking bring it. Like, you're just giving me more energy to be better. And, like, the proof's in the pudding. You know, like, so, like, when you see the stuff out there and my name will be on it, I've made it. I've done my part. You can't take me away from that. You can't delete that. And it's like, you know, like, so I've used all this stuff to help push me instead of bring it down. And I used to let it down. Like, I had to go to counseling because of how sad I was and how, like, you know, much shit I had to go through to pick myself back up. But then there came a point where I was just like, I can't, you know, rely on someone else to push me. You know, like, I got to do that on my own. So, which brings me to that movie I was working on.
Yeah.
So I worked on this movie called Aliens in the Attic, and this was my first movie job. I got it through Stefan. I'd helped design these guys, and especially this one, this cute little alien. So what happened is that Stefan got me on this movie job, and he was like, hey, look, all you have to do is help design a few costumes. And I was like, awesome, let's do it. But I was so nervous about taking these jobs because I had never worked on a movie. I was still really young. And I was like, Stefan, can you come into the room with me when I do it? And he was like, I guess so. So, like, Stefan, it was me, the director, the art director, the production designer, and then just Stefan awkwardly sitting there. And, you know, like, I got my first job there. I did what I had to do. I got paid for it. And I was like, wow, I actually got paid for my art. Like, I can do this. So from there, I got, you know, Stefan and I worked a bit more. We eventually worked for Microsoft. They were doing a job they were doing these, like, digital movies that they wanted to put on Xbox Live. And back then, James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, he was working on them too. And except the team that we were working on, I don't care, they sucked. You know, like, one of the people especially really sucked. And I wasn't getting paid. He was constantly, like, you know, being aggressive with me, taunting me, threatening me, because I got to a point where, like, it was a year of this, and I was like, I can't do this stuff for free anymore. Like, I got to get a job. Stefan was agreeing. He's like, we got to pull away from this. And it got really ugly. And, like, to the point where this guy was, like, sending my art to other artists and saying that I copied their poses and, like, and their designs when I never even knew who that artist was. And, like, this stuff was going on for, like, a while, to the point where we had to bring a lawyer in. And it got to that breaking point again where I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why can't I just have a solid career where it works out nice and I don't have to deal with either bullshit people or these type of situations? Because, you know, like, a lot of people, I mean, I've seen people go like, what has Dan ever, like, worked on? And it's like, I've worked on stuff, and I've been, you know, like, I've done a lot of freelance, but I just don't like I don't like it. My passion's not in it. When you look at my freelance stuff, you can't see the same stuff that's in my LMS art or my pop culture stuff for Redemption, because I can't emotionally connect with it. And I know that sounds stupid, but I take art very seriously. So if I can't, get involved with that project, then it's going to show. So while this, as all this stuff was crunching down on me, and art started to feel like a job instead of a passion, I one day drew a character, and that character is this one.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, this is Alice. I designed this character and I put it on DeviantArt, and the character just kind of took off, and like a lot of people are asking, like what is this character all about? Like, what is this from? And I didn't know. It was just something that I drew, and I just wanted to draw some hot Asian, half white chick with tattoos and nerdy stuff that I like done with a guitar gun. I had no intention for it to be anything. But then from there, more people started wondering, so I started pushing more characters, and then I'll go through them. Now I drew this guy, and then I drew these guys.
Like, it all holds together. So where have you drew the inspiration from for that? That was like.
So from this, nothing really. Like some people say like, oh, do you like Tank Girl? I'm like, no, I've never read Tank Girl. No, it's just like nothing really. Like I think LMS, well, what it would become LMS at the time, this was just all inspirations from things that I really enjoyed as a kid. Poppy colors. I'm a big fan of like 70s, 80s type of movies. So if the LMS movie ever does come out, that's the type of movie that I want. So, like drawing a lot of inspiration from that, but then at the same time, it wasn't until I designed Gabriel that I was like, it's a satire. Like, I kind of want to make fun of all the superheroes and movies and video games that we see, and all the tropes that we've grown. But at that moment, I didn't know what it was. So, as I was going through all this, I was thankful enough to get a job on a movie called Your Highness, and it was like a fantasy movie for Universal. And I got that through a buddy of mine. So while I was working on that, I was also doing covers for DC Comics. So while that was kind of my day job, I was still working on these characters. And then one day, I drew him. And I didn't know who he was. At the time, his name was just the number 0. He had no identity. He had no background or this or that. It was just a character. And then the last thing that I literally drew on him were the Skittles falling out. And I was like, I want something that's kind of funny in there and a little bit of color. So I put it online, and then after I put it online, that's when everyone was like, what is this one? Like, he was the most popular out of all the pieces. And everyone was like, all right, what is this for? And then I was just like, it's called LMS, Last Man Standing. I had no idea what it was. So I remember, this is one of those other days that I'll never forget. I called Stefan, and I was like, you got to come down here. I want to talk to you about something. So he came by his apartment, and we're standing in front of this fireplace that was like packed with like boxes of crap of mine. And I was like, look, I have this idea. It's called LMS. It's going to be the book that's based off this guy right here. And like the story is that, I don't know, like he's like maybe an assassin that like breaks into a police station and steals the folders of these characters that he's going after. And from there, like, I don't know, I think that's it. And then he was like, oh, that's cool, yeah, like how big is it going to be? And if you guys have seen the book, I was like, it's only going to be like 30 pages. It's going to be pretty tiny, like comic book size. And it's 300 pages, and it's like the size of a fucking tomb, like my tablet. And I was like, yeah, so I can get it done probably by the end of this year. We'll put it out, and that's it. And he's like, where are we going to publish it? And I was like, what about heavy metal? Because Stefan had ties with Kevin Eastman, who's one of the co-creators of Ninja Turtles and the owner of heavy metal. So I was like, yeah, let's do it through heavy metal. So he was like, all right, create a pitch packet, and then we'll pitch it to them, and then from there we'll see if we can do the book. So I was super excited. I already had, like enough characters that I wanted to go through, and let me.
So how did you keep developing the storyline, the ideas for further stories? Because as you mentioned, it all started naturally because you just did the stuff that represent you, your ideas and your interests in this subject. But it appeared that you just found that the spark that leads you to your own IP. And how did you keep the track on developing the ideas?
So, and that's a good question. So the way that I did it is that I had this drive, like there was there's a bunch of points. Like it's a great question, but it's a hard question. And I'll try to answer it with each little moment that I had. So my first moment is that I was talking to Allison, my girlfriend, about this yesterday, and I'm sure you guys, any artist, has felt this. When you're given an opportunity to look really good, what do you want to do? And especially when you want that opportunity, you try to make the best thing you can make to impress that person, correct?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm sure you guys have gotten jobs before where you're like, holy shit, this is what I've wanted, this is my shot. And you will stay up until you fucking pass out to get that piece done. So that's what LMS was to me as a whole. But what I had to get done first was the pitch book. And I tell people all the time, because they're like, how'd you make it? Like, what was the drive behind it? And I was like, never make it for someone else. Make it for you. Just like you do your art. Never make art for the community. The community will come if they like what you're trying to put out. So I'm like, believe in yourself and do something that you would want to see. So when I did the pitch book, I was like, all right, let's keep it easy. I had there's 45 plus characters in LMS. I had like 10 at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'll go and I'll do a little character list while I'm talking. But, what I did is that I designed about 15 characters, and I showed some, like, previews of what the book could look like. Mm-hmm. All the characters. So yeah, like I showed like what the book could actually look like, and then I gave story ideas, and then where we could take the book down the road. Like a TV show, a movie, toys, everything got there, just to make them go like, okay, I can see. Even though I never planned for this to be a movie. So we went in there with the pitch. I was all super pumped up. I got like nice clothes and everything. Kevin came by to the office and he was like, yeah, pitch it to me. And Kevin Eastman, Ninja Turtles, remember, first drawing I ever did. So like I wanted to impress this guy. So I gave him my pitch. I was like super nervous. I didn't know the story. Like you have to remember is that LMS, the story of it was once about a guy that was Gabriel, about to be executed on death row, and right before they flip the switch, they all start.
Hello?
Hello?
No! Dan, come back.
Did we lose him?
I still can see his screen. Dark, can you message him?
Yeah.
On Facebook? Oh,
yeah.
Something is moving.
Wait,
Dan, yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, sorry, could you not hear me?
Yeah, from the part when the switch was...
when you just started talking about the story of Gabriel.
Yeah, so when the switch is flipped, or before the switch is flipped, one of the audience members like stands up and like turns into a zombie. And you come to find out that like the zombie outbreak is happening during his execution. So Gabriel breaks out, he gets away, and it's about him trying to figure out who set him up during this big zombie outbreak. So that was the dumb story that I scrapped. And now the original story is LMS tells a story about Gabriel, the world's first super soldier that's been created to win an alien war against his aliens known as the Nomans, nicknamed that because no man has been able to defeat them. So Gabriel defeats them in a single punch. The world flips out, and he comes back to America, and they give him the title Protector of Tomorrow. And all Gabriel has to do is go around the world and refix his war-torn country and turn it into a better place. Because of this, Gabriel starts winning many accolades. From movies, TV shows, video games, toys, Gabriel becomes the face of pop culture. But soon the line begins to blur between hero and celebrity, and during Gabriel's weakest moment, he's framed by a Noman extremist group known as Pandemonium and sentenced to level 9 for the next 9 years, where they torture and break down Gabriel until eventually he's a nobody. But upon Gabriel's execution, he gets introduced to the elusive Agent O, who offers Gabriel a chance at redemption, breaks him out, and now Gabriel comes back into a new world that's been taken over by corporations, conglomerates, pop stars, and worst of all, Pandemonium. So that's what the story of LMS is now. So when I went in there, I pitched him that, and he was just silent, like the whole time. It was like stone-faced, just staring at me, and I was like, he hates it. And then he was like, all right, I got to go put money in my car meter real quick. And he got up and left, and I looked over at Stefan. Stefan had wide eyes, too. I'm like, this is it, dude. We fucked it. And then he was like, no, like, let's just see what he says. And I was like, all right. And I have, like, sweaty palms, everything. So he comes back in, and he sits down, and he's like, you know what? I'd be honored to do this book with you. And I was like, holy shit. So from there, I, like, raced home. I called up my mom. Of course, she didn't pick up, so she wasn't there. I called my dad, and I told him, I was like, I got the book deal. And he's like, congrats. When are you going to get the movie deal now? And I was like, God damn it. So, like, Yeah, so I got the book, and I told Kevin, I was like, look, this is how I want to do the deal. I don't want any money for this book. I'm going to do it all on my own dime, but I want my own timeline of when I get to put it out, and I don't want to be bothered while I do it. And he was like, cool, do your thing. So I spent the next year and a half working on it. And Derek, this is going back to your question. The drive that I had to finish it, or to work on it, I don't know. The first year's a blur. A lot of people ask me, like, do you remember stages of making this book? And I was like, no, I really don't. Like, and let me show you guys, for those that haven't seen the book, what it actually looks like, because it's not just like characters and that's it. There's a lot of stuff in there. One sec. Okay. So, so this is the book in a whole, and these are all double pages.
Oh.
That's high res. So each one of these little frames is 2 pages. So when I was working on the book, I didn't really know what it was going to be. Like I had an idea. It was Gabriel. Like once I scrapped the original idea, I was like, all right, Gabriel's a celebrity. And I drew a lot of inspiration. I hate to say it, and I hate to give him credit, but from Justin Bieber. And I was like, look at this kid that, like, let's just be real. Let's get all the jokes out of the way for a moment. This is a kid that started on YouTube. No one knew who he was. And I'm sure he was not a piece of shit. You can't say that. He was just a little kid. And he went on there. He played this instrument. Girls liked him. He had a few views. But then you have this big musician, Usher, that sees him. And he comes into the picture. He signs Justin Bieber to his label. And soon, Justin is now being led by agents, lawyers, celebrities, adults. And you have his parents on the other side that obviously aren't going to take that from him because they want a successful kid, so they support it. But no longer does Justin Bieber have this childhood anymore. He doesn't get to grow up naturally like you or I did. Now he's being forced to evolve into an adult, and he's being forced to live with all these adults and work in an adult world as a child. And that can mess with someone's psyche in a way. And now it turns him from this little kid into the monster he's now become. And I thought about that, and I love that juxtaposition because I think celebrity culture is actually very interesting. And I don't think it's interesting like, oh, the Kardashians are so cool. I think it's interesting where I'm going, why is the world so obsessed with them? Like, what is it about them that makes these people want to spend money for them? Like, there's something there that is causing that. And I wanted to put that with LMS. And I figured, well, how would we treat the world's first super soldier after he just won a war against an alien race and came back here? He wouldn't be fucking Captain America. They would put him on Facebook. They would put him on Twitter. They would put him on Instagram. They would put him on TV shows. They would make movies off of him. They would turn him into a celebrity and market off of him like a cash cow. Sure, Gabriel would do his stuff and clean the crime up, but the real focus is, how do we profit off of this guy? This guy just saved the world. He's done something that no one has ever done before. Let's make money off of that. And that's when Gabriel, he starts off as a child who literally is forced to grow up fast due to his enhanced, evolution. There's still a kid trapped in this body. And what happens to him when he's controlled by the government and all these people and then they torture him? He would be this messed up person. It's about how that guy now has been a hero for the wrong reasons and how he has to now be a hero for the right reasons. And that's the story of LMS. Because like a lot of people look at it and they're like, is it just a revenge story? And I was like, no. Like that's just like, for like the people that actually believe that. It's not really what LMS is about. LMS is a coming-of-age story about this little boy and how hard he's going to go to follow his dream of becoming a hero. It's what any artist has ever gone through, but just in very badass circumstances. So when I had that concept figured out, then I could go back into the book. And, I'll be honest, at the time, I didn't know. I couldn't explain it the way I just told you guys. That was something that I would have to figure out through this process. So the first year was kind of a blur. It was a haze. I don't really remember working on the book. I worked on it every single day. I pushed away friends. I pushed away my girlfriend. I pushed away family. I became a recluse. And I was in the corner. You can even ask my roommates that lived with me at the time. I never left. And I just worked. I would work DC and Universal in the beginning part of the day, and then LMS until about 6 a.m., go to bed for about a few hours, wake up, rinse and repeat. I was young back then, so I could take it. Now I can't do that anymore. Now I look at the book, I'm like, how the fuck did I do this? I'm tired by 10 o'clock now. So the first year was fine, but then Derek, back to your question. About a year in, it took me a year and a half to do everything that you guys are looking at. About a year in, I stopped. I came to a point where I couldn't finish the book. I didn't know what I was doing anymore, and I gave up. And I remember, I'll never forget this day either. I was sitting there. I got up. There was blinds behind me, so I opened up the blinds, and like the sun came through, and I was like, Jesus Christ. So I went upstairs. At the time, my girlfriend and I were not doing well. I'm not with her anymore. So she was laying in a different bed. I was over on my bed in the corner. I went over and I grabbed Gizmo, who was like 2 at the time, 3, and I just held him, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I was like, I suck. Like, no one's going to like this book. No one's going to think this is cool. This is a stupid idea. My dad is right. I need to give up. So for a month, I didn't work on it. And I didn't tell anyone, really. I didn't put on DeviantArt. Not on Facebook at the time. I didn't tell my girlfriend. I just kind of kept it to myself. And I did a lot of walks. And I know this sounds stupid, but I had worked on this so much where these characters felt real. Like these characters felt like they were all parts of me. Like, you know, like I had breathed life into them. You know, like I took them from a drawing into building a story around them, and then into designing parts for their history. That's what all these little pages are over here. And with that, I spent like a week on each character going, okay, what is this character? What does he do? What does he do? And then focusing, and then trying to think about it to the point of going OCD on it. And, you know, like I didn't have any friends at that moment. I didn't talk to anyone. So I was trapped in this world, and it consumed me. So when I took a break from it, it was kind of like, hey, holy shit, what's going on? Like, no one likes me. And, you know, like I felt that maybe I should stop on it. I didn't want this project to consume me completely, so I came to this conclusion where I was like, you know what, I should stop. And there's 2 people I called on this walk home one day. And I called my dad first, and, you know, like I told him about it, and he was like, well, you know, you can give up, and you can go do what you need to do and get a job somewhere, and that's fine. But, and of course, this is coming from, of all people, my dad. He was like, but I want to tell you that every day you're not perfecting your craft, someone else who wants it more is going to catch up with you and take it. And you want
the ultimate motivation.
Yeah. And he's like, do you want someone to take this project from you? And I was like, fuck no. And then from there, I called Stefan, and I had to get it from him too. And I was like, Stefan, if I don't go through with this book, I need your help getting me a job. And he's like, where? And I was like, Industrial Light and Magic, Weta, Pixar, one of those places. And he was like, all right. He's like, look, I'll help you do whatever you need to do. Well, can I offer you something? And I was like, what? He's like, what if one day, instead of working for those guys, they worked for you? And then I was like, that's never going to happen. And he's like, I don't know. I think you could do it. And then I was like, all right, whatever. So, like, after that, I thought about it for a while. And I was like, you know what? I got to finish this book. Like, you know, like one way or the other, just do it. Get it done. Get it done for all the people that said you couldn't do it. So I finished the book. You know, like I spent the next half of the year getting it done. It wasn't the book that I wanted. There was 2 print runs. The first one was like the 80% finished version of LMS. So, but I had to get it done. We turned it in. It got printed. The book came back, and all the covers were fucked up. All the back covers were messed up. And I was like, no. And they were all pixelated. You couldn't read the quotes on the back. And we had some awesome quotes. And like I was so angry. And I told Kevin, I was like, these books cannot go out. And he was like, well, like we already got all the money in. Because what happened on the first day of the book, I put up a link to the pre-order, and we hit our printing run within the first day. So like, you know, like he was like, I'm sorry, but this is the book that needs to go out. And I was like, I'm sorry, but they're not going out. And, like, I need them birthed. And Stefan and I ended up taking out a loan that really hurt us in the long run, but we took out a loan to print the books again. We got them printed. The book was delayed a bit, but eventually we got it out. So after the book was done, when it was finally shown to everywhere, that's when I was able to repitch it back to the team. And I showed it to Kevin, who had not seen it for a year and a half, and after he saw it, he was like, wow, like, this isn't just a book. This is a movie. Like, this is a toy series, and this is this and that. He's like, you could do a lot of stuff with this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then he brought in 2 guys, Russell and Peter, who would become my marketing dudes one day. They're the reasons why the LMS toys exist. They came in, and they're like, yeah, we should definitely take this elsewhere and try to get something going on with it. And I was like, yeah, for sure. So what happened is that from there, we took it to Comic-Con. The book did well, and then we started pitching it everywhere. We pitched it over to, and this is why it's really important, because these are the points that like a lot of people don't talk about, because not many artists, you know, like I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to figure out how to say this the right way, but you don't meet these people, because as like a concept artist or as a designer, you never meet the top people that are paying for this stuff. And this is why it was such a world change for me, because I was so used to working with like art director, this and that. I wasn't used to working with like the top suits, like the guys that own Warner Brothers and this and that. So it was incredibly intimidating going into these meetings. And I remember going in there with my stupid, cheap little suits and sitting down and sweating my fucking balls off. And like, sitting in front of the heads of, like, you know, The Dark Knight Returns or 300, Watchmen, Superman. Like, I went to Legendary. That was the first place I went to. And I sat down, and I remember hearing all the leather squeak as they all turned their seats and looked at me. And they're like, pitch us LMS. And I was like, so, and I'm going to give you guys, like, a real verbatim pitch, how I did it. I was like, all right, so LMS is a sci-fi that takes place in the future. Well, what point in the future? Like 600 years. So do we have like floating cars, or I don't know. Well, hold on, I forgot to mention what part. Oh, like there's this one character. What character? And I was just like, Jesus Christ! Like I was, I had never done something like this before, and I didn't know what I was doing. So eventually, I was just like, all right. I gave them the basic pitch, and at that time, like I could pitch LMS like the back of my hand now. Like I know the whole world. I know what happens at the end. I know where we get to it, and like everything. But back then, all I knew was the premise, and I was like just sweating there. So we went to Legendary. We went to Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams' company. We went to Sony. We went to Fox. We went to DreamWorks. DreamWorks was the best. I love telling this story. So I go into DreamWorks, and the moment I walk in there, this dude was like born for Hollywood. He was just waiting for me. And he's got his shirt popped open, his hair back. He's got his arms around the chair. And I go in there, and he's like, sit down. Tell me about this LMS thing. So I was like, okay. So, like, you know, he's like, what's it all about? And I was like, well, LMS is takes place in the future in an alternate universe. And what's an alternate universe? And I was like, what? And I was like, an alternate universe is a universe similar to ours, but slightly different. Think of like The Matrix, Watchmen. So I don't get what you're trying to say. So is it like a future movie? Yeah, it takes place in the future, but not our universe. So wait, how would we have human beings then? Well, like, you know, like, I'm like, haven't you seen like the movie like The Matrix? Like, you know? And he was like, I don't get what you... And he looks over at his assistant, and he's like, is this kid serious? And then he's like, the guy just shrugs. And he looks back at me, and he's like, so, it's a future sci-fi movie, right? And I was like, yes, it's a future sci-fi movie. Anyways, like shit like this, where these people just did not get what I was trying to say. And he even said, and to his credit, it's funny now, because I wish I could say what's going on, but he was like, look, I don't get it. And he's like, but there's this little voice in my head that's telling me that I should buy schmuck insurance on this property because I have a feeling that it's going to blow up one day. But he's like, I just don't see it right now. And I was like, well, one day hopefully you will. So we left, and all these studios were saying the same thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. We love the book. We love the art, but we don't get it. And it sucked because I put so much of myself into this thing that I wanted it to work. And I'll be honest, I didn't get it either. There was something there because now working on the movie, we're pulling stuff from it. But at the time, I just couldn't pitch it the way I needed to pitch. And in these meetings, it's not like working with an art director. You don't get another shot to make it better. You get that one shot, and if you fuck it up, they're going to remember that. Because next time when you go in there, they're going to be thinking about your first pitch. So it was really disheartening. And then eventually we went to Summit. They saw the property. They really liked it. They're the guys behind Twilight. And they really liked it. They're like, yeah, we want to make this into a movie. And I was like, okay. So, you know, like I was like at the time, I was like, you know what, be humbled enough that they want to make your movie. So we tried to work it out with them, but they were taking too long. And then eventually we got a call from Warner Brothers, and they were like, hey, we just saw your property. We showed it to the head of the studio. He really likes it and wants to make it. What's it going to take? And I was like, well, Summit really wants it too. And then he was like, all right. And then next thing I know, Paramount, this is all on the same day, Paramount gives us a call, and they're like, hey, we really like the book. We would love to make it. How's it going to make it work? And I was like, like trying to figure all this stuff out. So eventually what happened is, long story short, I went with the team that supported my, you know, team the best, and that was Paramount. So Paramount acquired the options. We got the book deal. Everything was awesome. We were all super stoked and excited, but we still had a really big road ahead of us. And, you know, like that's, I mean, that was 5 years ago, so there's still a lot to talk about, and I'm not going to waste time talking about all of that. But over those years, what I wanted to get to is that the reason why I stuck onto this project and held on to it is because of these things. Because for all these challenges that we had to go through to get here, it was always like, it was met with a better reward. And like, like I've never looked at a challenge as something that's held me back, or like, going like, well, maybe I should just give up. Like, because now after all these things that have happened with LMS, and like all of these amazing artists that I've had the chance, Jonas included, that have done LMS art for me, or like I can't, if I were to give up now, I'd be letting go of all the people that have supported me up to this point. So, it's been a very crazy ride, and like here, I'll just show you guys, because I'm pulling pictures, but it's taking me too long. But like it's been a very crazy ride seeing how Gabriel has turned from just this little picture into an actual character, into an actual book that's now living there. And now to end off my little story, remember how I told you about wanting to work for Weta, and like what that would take? And yeah. On the back of LMS, we got a quote from Richard Taylor, the head of Weta Workshop, saying, "This is one amazingly cool and very dense book. This is hopefully the blueprint for an equally amazing film that will one day be made. Dan Luvisi has written and illustrated a wonderful and unique book presenting a catalog of sorts that explores every facet of the bounty hunter in his very complex life. Fantastic art and intriguing text makes this a compelling and highly enjoyable read." Richard Taylor, who also sent us a letter of intent for Weta Workshop to work on the movie. So after that, and then being able to see like the statue by Legacy Effects, the guys that made the Iron Man armor and everything, like I can't stop. And that's why I go around and I give this talk, and why I gave it just to you guys, because I want to enforce people to follow your dreams and make your own, future. And like it's all on you. Nothing's holding you back. If you have a computer, you can go on Facebook, and you have every opportunity to make this happen. So yeah, that's how I started and got to where I am.
I remember the time when it was really inspiring tons and tons of people, like your journey. It was like, every update you've been putting out there was just a huge inspiration, and everyone was following what's up with LMS. And
that's what's been really cool with it, is that, like one of the things that like a lot of people, actually, a lot of people do ask me this, like, why do you stay in contact so much, like, with your family? It's like, why do you talk? Why do you try to communicate with them? Like, how do you have time to do that? And I was like, I'll never stop doing that. Like, I hope if this all blows up and I never have to work a day in my life again, I'll still be doing that, because those are the people that made me and allowed this property to survive. So what I want to do is to continue to include them on this journey of mine, not because I trying to make them special, but because they deserve it. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here today doing this. So like watching them grow with me and grow with this property is just as much mine as it is theirs, in my opinion.
So how exactly, what's the biggest tip you could give to develop your own IP and get it through until it's finished? Would you recommend doing it your way, like showing every step during the process and building the community around it while creating it?
So to create an IP, there is no one way to do it. Because I've been asked before, how do you make a book? Like, how do you build an IP? And I was like, I can never teach you to make an IP. If you sat here behind me for that year and a half while I worked it, you still wouldn't have the information on how to make it, because it has nothing to do with what I drew, what I wrote, or what I physically built. What allowed me to do it is, back to Derek's question, is that perseverance, that motivation that I had. And that can't be taught or bought. It has to be earned. Like, you have to want it. And like, I see a lot of, like, I'm going to go hip-hop style and call out a few rap artists here, but I see a lot of artists saying, I got an IP, and I'm like, no, you don't. You have a few pictures, you have a premise that was probably inspired by a movie that you saw. That is not an IP. An IP is something that is making money, that is building, there's stuff that is built on it, and that takes a lot of time. That takes that takes years to make into it. I've been doing LMS for 7 years now, and I have fought really hard to call this thing an IP. So when I see people go like, I have an IP of mine, I'm like, no, you have a pitch, you have an idea, you have a kernel of an idea, and I want to see more artists take it to that level, like Jonas is doing. I mean, Jonas, sorry, no offense, Jonas, but AJ is doing with Heaven's Hell. Like he created a book and he saw it forward and he got it done, and he wants to continue to push that story, build it into something more. That's making an IP. And when people are like, I have an IP of mine, I'm like, no, I want to see you make something. I want to see you hold a book. And I'm not saying it has to be LMS. I'm not saying it has to be 300 pages. It could be 15 pages. It could be a YouTube trailer that you made on it. Just make something that is more than a picture and a group of words. And that I cannot teach people. And I don't think anyone can. All I can do is hopefully tell you this story to show you that I've gone from nothing to get to where I am today. And I didn't have people holding my hand. Yeah, I had Stefan there for me, but he wasn't like paying me to make this book. Like the book was made on all my own money. And the thing is that I had to work it. No one else did the art. There was only 2 other pieces of art aside from all the guest artists that we had on the second print that were in that book. Everything else was done by me, from the writing to the designing to putting the book together. Like I didn't have any other help. And that's why is that I wanted to own something and hold something that was my own. And as an artist, like, I mean, isn't that why we're here? Like, you know, like, I mean, it's cool to design stuff, but I want to create worlds. And like that was what was always in the back of my head is that I want to build this thing so it can become real one day. So I can walk on set and see Gabriel and touch his armor and be able to hang out with him. And like that's when I made it. And there came a point when I saw the statue. Let me tell this little story. This statue, I knew that it was being made. I just didn't know if it would ever seriously be made. And one day I was brought by Legacy FX, and they were showing me all the new RoboCop armor they were doing and this and that. And while I was looking at it, they were like, hey, turn around. And when I turned around, I saw this statue, the full thing. Let me see if I got a full picture. I mean, I think you guys have seen the whole thing before. But it was like, yeah, the full statue. And they were all standing in a circle around it. And they were like, what do you think? And I was just like, I fucking cried. I have no problem admitting it. I had a tear roll down my cheek. And I was like, I can't believe you guys did this for me. And they were like, we would rather do this, or rather do like Iron Man and do this instead. And I was like, don't tell me that. Like, you know, like I want to do this all day with you guys. And when I had that feeling in my heart, and as cheesy as that sounds, I don't give a shit. When I felt it in my chest, and I felt all that adrenaline, you know, rushing, all that dopamine releasing in my mind, I told Stefan that day that we have to create a place that I can allow that for other artists because we all deserve to feel that way. You know, like I got sick of some fucking sleazy producer making tons of money and fame off a project, and the artist gets forgotten. I mean, as an artist, aren't we building the world? Aren't we designing and creating everything for them? Like, why are we being the ones that kind of get paid the chump change while all the other guys that didn't do shit are making all the money? And it was like, I wanted to change that. I want to change the business so artists can be the ones on top. And that's what I'm trying to do. And hopefully we can pull that off.
Yeah, so how exactly does Section 9 work with artists? Like, so are these mostly your friends or just people who came by?
Okay, so Section 9, what I want to do is I want to create the next Pixar. I know that sounds like a huge pipe dream, but I want to create the adult Pixar. And I don't mean like porn adult. I mean like I want to create where, let's just say, pipe dream world, where we all live in the perfect world, where Jonas could come to me and be like, hey, I have this IP of mine that I want to make. Here's the pitch, here's the art, and we go, cool, Jonas, we really like this. So let's mold the story into exactly what we want to pitch to the studios, and then we use all the connections that I've made over the last 7 years, from all the producers I know, the directors, the art teams that I know, the companies, the studios, my agents, my lawyers, all that. We protect Jonas. We then get him his movie picked up. We get him a producer deal on it. He has a say on the project, and he gets to be a part of it. And then from there, Jonas either gets to chill out and make money off his project, or he can come and work on it every day. That's the type of work I want to build. You know, so Jonas doesn't have to go and do this guy's stuff, and then do this guy's stuff, and then come home and work on his own stuff. I want Jonas to be able to work on his own stuff whenever the hell he wants. In the meantime, we're building this movie and this toy property for him. That's my dream scenario, where I can live in a studio where I work with all of my friends, and I'm making them tons of money, or they're making tons of money on their own with their stuff, and we just all get to have fun. I mean, that's the world I want. Not a world where artists sit there, and art directors hanging over their shoulder and being like, can you change this? And it's like, fuck you. Like, I can't do that. I've worked with so many bad freelance companies that, like, I don't like that life, and I don't like drawn with anxiety. Mm-hmm. And, like, you can probably tell by the way I'm speaking about it so much that, like, I'm passionate about this, and I want it to work. And, like, I really want to build a better place for artists. That's my goal.
That's awesome attitude. I think that, as you said, like, before, that almost every artist, or, like, most of the artists want to create their own worlds, but there is the time that we are just, you know, designing, creating the stuff for others, and there is almost like limited amount of time to do your own stuff, and you just jumped and hooped into the and immersed into your own world. Just get rid of all of those work and just focus on what you represent and what you really like to do. That's really awesome attitude. So really inspiring to hear.
When you feel that way, I want artists should feel like that every day. Like, you see these movies that are coming out nowadays, right? And I'm not going to name anyone, but a lot of these concepts are weak. And I don't blame the artists. I blame, one, the producers and the art directors and the production designers that don't know what the fuck they want. So they just end up going with some boring shit. And two, I blame the artists not being able to connect themselves with that piece. Like, I really believe that an artist will put out fun work or their best work when they're inspired, when they're happy to be working on a project. I'm sure Star Wars is going to look fucking amazing because everyone wants to do cool stuff on that. Everyone wants to build a fun world out of that. But then you have projects like, Maze Runner or something, where it's like, oh, you got to do this, and it's got to look like this dystopian guy, and we got to do this, which we've seen 1,000 times before. And I don't think that's when an artist can put out their best work. I would rather have a place like, for example, right now with LMS, I can't say who, but we have a director involved, and it's a director that I'm very happy with. And I told him, I was like, when we get to the art stage, I want to kind of take over. And I don't mean I want to take over in a hostile way, but what I want to do is I want to pick out all the artists that I think are best for these specific parts or these characters or these environments. And then from there, I'm going to sit them in a room, and I'm going to tell them, these are my inspirations for this world. I'll give you about 2 sentences. I'll show you a couple images, and then from there, outdo what I just told you, and then inspire me. And like, I never want to stand over an artist's shoulder and be like, oh no, make this better. It's like, no, make it what you think it is. Make it the coolest thing you can make it, and then we'll go from there. And then if I see things I like, but like what happens is when I think a director or someone that has a certain idea comes in and tries to like enforce their vision, you don't really have much freedom to play with that. And like, I want a place where artists feel like they can be themselves and have fun with it instead of it feeling like a job.
Yeah.
It's a really yeah. Go ahead, Jonas.
Yeah, it's a really tricky business what you're talking about because there's so much politics involved and egos and stuff. Like, I've been in situations where actually my art director had the best intentions and actually wanted it to be exactly like you just mentioned, Dan. But then usually, like, I often blame the big studios, not even the producer, but just the studio that's shooting the money, because they have a completely different agenda than the artistic people, because they see it as a business, and not as an artistic project.
And see, like,
so often, they want to impose their own ideas with that in mind, and not so much your creative freedom. And that usually fucks up. Like, that's a thing in Hollywood that happens all the time, that just screws so many potentially great movies or projects that just become crap because someone's like putting their, taking their finger and just
wiggling it,
going in your eye, just, and it's just, the end result is just gross. Basically,
and see, like, what we're trying to do here is, in a perfect scenario, is bring in outside funding, so then we can go like, we're going to handle this and that, and we don't need you. Because, like, what's eventually going to start to change is that studios aren't going to be needed one day. Because, one, you can see what's happening with visual effects. They're getting really good to the point where anyone can do them. 2, China money is now becoming a big thing, so soon studio money won't really be required. And as long as, like, another country can play a little part in saying they produced this movie. So, in my idea, the perfect world is going, we're bringing the budget, we're bringing the director, we're bringing the screenplay, we're bringing everything else. All we need is you to distribute this movie or put in half the budget, and you can have this and that. We want silent partners. Like, so Jonas, like you were saying, we don't have some, like, schmuck producer come in, wiggle his dirty, crusty finger in our great thing that we've been building, and then go like, no, it's part me too, and then, like, walk off. Like, like, that's what I don't want. Like, that's why Pixar works. There's a reason why Pixar's only had, like, a couple of duds. And when I say duds, I still mean they're better than most DreamWorks movies. So, like, they know what they're doing. And that's because they don't have guys, like, just getting in their way. And, like, I don't understand why people don't wake up and realize that the more people you have in there stirring their hands in it, the shittier it's going to become.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a fact.
Look what happened to Prometheus. Like, I saw what the original script was. But you had so many people who go, maybe it should be this and that and this. That's my dummy voice. Like, trying to, like, make it work. So now it's just in a culmination of all these different movies and not just one, like it was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. I also see it in Star Wars, like the original versus prequels. It looked like George Lucas having more, being more limited. It was like something that made him more creative, and the limitation was his strength, actually, because suddenly when he could do anything, it looked like it wasn't really good anymore. So yeah.
No, yeah. You know, well, the thing with Lucas is that you kind of have a reverse, where you have someone with too much power. You know,
where
where people are worried to say anything wrong. You know, and it's just so like I'm trying to look for that perfect blend. I want the Pixar model. You know, I want a place where artists like you were saying, is it only friends? No, it's an open door policy. You could have the homeless dude walk out the street, and if he gives me a cool enough idea, we'll turn that guy's life around. Like that's what I want. Anyone can come in here, but I want to work with hard workers. I want to work with people that are going to go 110%. You know, so that's my whole. Sorry for like talking you guys' ears off, but this is something that's very like close to me.
That's definitely a great talk and really inspiring, and it's the attitude that you got, and you know that the feelings that you have with in terms of just being not limited by the big companies, as we all are or were at some place at some point of our stuff that we did, and that kind of places are really like rare, and creating that, it would be awesome actually. So we just can keep our fingers crossed for it, and definitely if we can always support you to make it happen, because
I appreciate it, and like I'm going to make it happen. You know, like it's like people are always like, how sure you, like my dad, for example, I talked to him not too long ago, and he was like, do you have an escape plan? Like, what if this doesn't work out? What if the whole thing falls apart? Like, like what are you going to do? And I was like, yeah, I was like, have you heard of the Titanic? Like, the captain didn't leave that ship when it went down. Like, like I'm going down with this, one way or the other, because it's either going to work or I'll fail with it. And at least I know that I put in a lot more effort than some people have. And it's like, that's what I want to do, to know that I did it. Because I never want to be at a place, like, the people get the wrong impression about me sometimes. They think that, like, if I say you work at a studio, that you're being stupid. It's like, not at all. Like, if anything, I'm trying to make that. So why would I be saying those people are dumb? It's not that at all. It's just that, like, I have this dream of mine. I've set out to do it, and I've gotten this far that I can't give up now. But if I did fail, I would have no problem going and working at a studio. But I need to get this done first. I need to see it. I have this, to end my little rant on this. I was one day walking through the Sony lot. I was walking with Stefan. We were on our way to a meeting. And as I was looking around, I love lots. Like, they get me hard. And it's like seeing all these, like, boring-ass brown buildings, but inside there's all these amazing things happening. It's very inspiring to me. And as I was walking through, I closed my eyes. I know this sounds stupid, but bear with me. I caught this, like, glimpse. And I saw myself walking through the LMS set, and it was nighttime, it was a city shot, and it was like half of the set was built obviously for green screen areas, and it was designed by all my friends that I brought onto this property, and I was walking in their imagination. Jonas, I'm sure you felt that with Jupiter Ascending, and like as I was going through, I am eventually led up to this massive man wearing this armor, and his back's to me, and I can feel my heartbeat beating as I'm getting closer. When he turns around, it's Gabriel. And it's the actor inside the suit, and he looks at me and goes, how do I look? And at that point, I'll know that I have reached as far as I can go with my journey. And, like that, I can have kids, I can start to feel I can do whatever I want. But I need to get to that point. And, like, I can feel it in my stomach that it's going to happen. Like, we've gotten too far. Too many things have happened. Like, too much blood has been spilled to get here. So, like, I have to see it happen. And, so that's been my personal journey. So one way or the other, it'll happen.
So obviously there's that huge drive that just gets you there, but sometimes there are sacrifices you have to make. So what's the biggest sacrifice you had to make it where you are now? And
my health. I was in the ER twice this year because I don't pay attention to stuff. I have a faulty kidney, really bad stomach that's probably due to like stress and what other. I've had a bad stomach ever since a kid, and not like, oh, I have a stomach ache, but like bad. And my back is messed up, really bad. It's been hurting. I get tired a lot. I feel weak all the time. Like I'm not doing good over here, and it's something that I need to get in check, and I need to go get healthy, because if it wasn't, what's the point of all this if I'm not there to see it? And I'm not trying to be like overly dramatic. Even my girlfriend's like, you gotta get this shit checked out. Like, you gotta look over your health. You can't be stupid. So that's one of the things that I have not really been too careful about. I pushed aside family. Unfortunately, I'm not too close with my mom's side anymore, which is really sad because my grandfather is like one of my biggest inspirations, and I love him to death. It's something I need to fix. My friends, I don't really like. I'm not gonna lie. I get texts from people, and I'll just look at my phone and just put it back down. And it's like, it's not even anything malicious. It's not like I'm looking at them being like, oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah, it's not personal.
I'm not even thinking about it. Like, like that's it. And I know it's a bad excuse, but it's my only excuse. And it's like, I look at it and it's just, there's so much going on in my head right now that I gotta focus, because like these are the things that I don't talk about, because you see all these like happy statuses on Facebook and everything, and yeah, those things are happening, but there is so much shit on the other end that I am not talking about. Like I was telling you guys earlier, we're trying to set up a property for another artist of ours that's working with us, and that is weekly phone calls, emails, strategy discussions, and for me, it's that pressure packing on my back constantly going, are you going to make it happen? Are you going to set this guy up, or is he going to fail? Will he like you if you set it up? Is he going to dislike you if you change his life in like a negative way? Is this going to happen? But then that's just one person. On the other side, I go, am I making my business partner happy? Is my writing partner happy? Is LMS going to work out? Is my family happy? Is my friend? And it's these constant voices in my head. Not to mention drawing all the time. I get really bad OCD. I get anxiety all the time. So like, I'm kind of falling apart, but at the same time, I can taste it. I know it's there. Like, I can almost feel it. I know at the end of this year, it's going to be fun, and that everything's going to work out. Like, everything is teeing up. We have never been this close that we are with LMS and with this other project. So it's like I'm just trying to hold on, but.
So, making all these sacrifices and basically saying sometimes no to your health, saying no to your friends, or being just silent. Do you think it's like saying no? Is it necessary to succeed and not being distracted?
I heard this really stupid rap song when I was in the movie theater the other day, and he pretty much said exactly what you said, where he said it is worth it to push those people away, because look at all the people that are successful. Like, say what you will about Steve Jobs, right? I have Apple stuff everywhere. Will I stand in line midnight to get it? No. Will I call you out if you're a PC fan? No, I don't give a shit. I just use it because I like the stuff. That's it. That's where it ends. But when I look at Steve Jobs, I look at someone that, like I said, say what you will. There's a reason there's multiple movies of him. There's a reason why there's books on him. There's a reason why Steve Jobs will never be forgotten, and you will constantly remember his name. And the thing is, though, is that I read his book. He sacrificed a lot, and sometimes in a very bad way, his family included, and stuff where I even looked down on him, or I was just like, shame on you, dude. But look at, the thing is that, a lot of people say when you're on your deathbed, you never wish that you worked harder, because obviously what was the point? But on my deathbed, I want to be known for something. I want to be able to leave something behind so I can inspire that next person that was once like me to take it a step further. Mm-hmm. That's what art is to me. Like, I take art very seriously. It's not just making money. I'm not one of those artists. Like, I want to leave something that can be remembered, and and something to inspire other people. Because that's how I got to where I am today. And that's what life's all about. You get one shot to make it, one shot to make yourself into something. Why waste it?
Exactly. Another question. Social media plays a big part in getting your art out, right, to people to see. So, what was the main factor for you to make you step away from places like Facebook for a little while?
Wait, sorry, repeat the question one time?
What was the main factor that made you step away from Facebook and for past 6 months, 5 months?
So this is what was happening. Back, to those that know, I left Facebook, what was it? Towards the end of 2013, I think. I left it, or no, 14, maybe one of those. I left it for like 4 or 5 months. And the first reason is because during that time, I hit like a low point in my life. You know, like I've seen some comments, like I was telling you guys, where people are like, he left Facebook because he was depressed. And I was like, no, I didn't leave because I was depressed. But some moments actually bled into that. So at that time, I hit a really weak spot in my life where I crumbled. I fell apart. And I had just lost my apartment because my roommate was like, hey, I can't pay this anymore, I gotta go. And like left me stranded, and I couldn't find someone in the time that he left. So I lost my apartment. I couldn't find one that was affordable in Santa Monica at the time. So I was living in my office, literally, like in my office with my cat litter and my 2 cats. It fucking sucked. And to make matters worse, since I had to move Gizmo, Gizmo's my cat. Gizmo's had a health issue. Every time he moves, something happens with him. He just gets sick. I don't know what it is. And I've gone through multiple surgeries with him, and this is just another one. And it ended up costing me big time. You know, like thankfully I had Justin Goby Fields there to like pick me around and help pick me back up with his cat. And you know, like it sucked. So I had to pay for him. I had no money because I was broke after that. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, you know, like nothing is working out. I've kind of lost my shit. I am not confident right now in myself. And at that time, I met Allison. Allison came into my life, who's now my girlfriend now, and she saved me. She found me at my weakest point, and she was like, I used to like look at your art in high school and like watch you, and you're that guy, and now you're this guy? Like, you know, and she met me when I lived here. Like, she came by on Halloween day, and she saw me living here with my disheveled hair and beard all out, and like, you know, I was living in my fucking office. And she was like, you know, like she was like, I thought you were the LMS guy, like this and that. And I was like, yeah, I once was. And you know, like she picked me back up, and she inspired me. And seeing her art and how talented she was, I was like, you know what? Fuck Facebook, and like fuck all this shit, and fuck what these people are saying about me. I'm like, I don't need this. And what I did is, you know, I got off Facebook, and I was like, if I get off Facebook, I need to put my money where my mouth is. And also, I'll show you guys what I did. I can't show it all, but I'll show that I wasn't just messing around. But in that time, I was like, you know what? It's time to put together the next LMS book. And this is what I did. This is all the work that I put together for that book. This is the next chapter. This is going to be LMS Once Upon a Time in America.
So that was what you did just in these 5 months?
No, it was more like I blocked them all in about a month, and then I rendered them over the next like 4 months.
That's crazy.
But not only that, I built up the story for the next book. I built up the script for that movie. I built up like a 60-page treatment book. I put all this work together, so when I came back, I wasn't just like, surprise, I'm back, and I don't have shit to show for it. Like, you know, like even though I'm not showing this art yet, that was like really the first time anyone's seen it. You know, like I wanted to have something that I knew that I wasn't just messing around. So I did all of that, but not only that, not having Facebook was such a blessing. You know, to go like, because you know, every now and then Alex would be like, oh, there's this drama going on, or this person said that, and I was like, God, I'm so glad I'm not in that right now. Like I don't have to deal with that. Like that shit is so stupid, and like, you know, like I don't know, like I love Facebook. I'm not gonna lie. No, I've met, like you guys included, I've met so many good people on here, so many amazing artists, and not only that, I've made a lot of good friends on here that have followed and supported my work. And, you know, like I never use the word fans because it sounds stupid. You know, like I look at these guys as like, you know, supporters and my friends. And if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know half the people. I wouldn't know AJ, who's now like a brother to me, you know, or like Reed or Ash or Alex Konstad, you know, like, or all these guys that I've grown to love as my friends. So, you know, like that's why Facebook's great. But then every now and then you have that one dude or that one girl who has yeah. That's just like, dude, it's just not worth it, you know. So like that's where I try to go in it now, is just not really caring about that shit. I don't like to surround myself with negative people anymore. You know, life's too short. You know, like I don't want to focus on that crap. So getting away from Facebook really opened my eyes, and you know, it showed me what's important and what's not. So yeah. But then again, you know, like I still have my insecurities about Facebook. If I'm not gonna lie, I would call bullshit on a lot of artists if they didn't agree. But there's times where I put up a picture, and if it doesn't do well, I think I did something wrong. Or I'm like, what the hell, Allison? Why did they like this one, but they like that one? And then she's like, does it really matter? Like, is it the likes, like the amount of likes that you're looking for? I'm like, I don't know what it is. I'm like, because it's not like if I get a lot of likes, I'm like, I'm the shit, I rule. It's not that. I think it's more like I think it goes back to my insecurity with my dad and wanting to be accepted and wanting to have, like I do art so people enjoy it. But then if I can't enjoy it, then like what good is it, So I've been trying to deal with those little things and like, trying to figure out what type of artist I want to be. And, like I haven't painted in a while. So I've been, like I took a break obviously after the book to, kind of chill out. But recently I've had that hunger for wanting to get back into it. So yeah, I'm still trying to discover who I am as an artist to this day.
Yeah, so it's basically a never-ending journey, right? You never.
Yeah, it's good, like I really do think that a lot of artists, need that. I mean, like I went through my stage of doing the hyper real and fully painted stuff, but then I wanted to do some drawing, which you guys saw recently, and then I kind of wanted to get into some looser stuff. But then I feel like if I do, then I lose part of my audience. Like I'm only supposed to do the hyper real stuff, so it's like it's a weird balance that you have to make. But then at the same time, it's like, why do I care? Why don't I just do my own shit?
Yeah. There is another question that was actually the most voted one in the poll, in the event page, on the event page. So what is your average day-to-day schedule? I would say the schedule when you actually work on something.
No, I'm like being dead serious. None of these days changed. I have a very clockwork life. Alex can attest to it. So this is an average day for me. Wake up, got cats meowing in my face, begging for food. So I'll get up begrudgingly, feed them at like 6:30 in the fucking morning, and then from there go back to bed, try to sleep for a little bit. Can't sleep because my back hurts. So get up, get ready for work, and I am lucky enough to be able to walk to work. So I'll get up, start walking. I don't really eat breakfast much. I'll try to eat something. I should because it's important, but I don't. Grab a coffee, get into work. I'll sit there, sweat because it's so hot out here nowadays, and then try to cool off, and then eventually go, okay, what's going on Facebook? I'll go to the, the top, most wanted websites that I usually go to: Facebook, Instagram, /film, Kotaku, IGN, ArtStation, Reddit, rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And then eventually I'll go, all right, stop being a piece of shit. Get on to Photoshop, start drawing. I'll usually start off with like a sketch, something, like to really get into it. And now this is where the days kind of changed, because I don't paint every single day. I mean, even recently. But sometimes I'll paint, sometimes I'll draw, sometimes I'll kill people in Grand Theft Auto. Sometimes I'll play Metal Gear Solid. Sometimes I'll watch a movie. Sometimes I'll go for a walk and listen to music. But I'm never just sitting there going, what do I do with my day? I can't sit there and play games more than like an hour max without feeling like I'm wasting time. So I always try to be doing something productive. If I can write, if I can draw, if I can paint, even if it's just a doodle, just something to move my arms so I'm not like, what are you doing? Like, stop wasting time. So, and that's on weekends. Like Alex and Alex works at Real Effects during the day, and then he comes in here at night. But I'm in here usually from about earliest 9:30, latest 10:30 till about 12, 1 a.m. every day. And after I'm done, usually around, sorry, this is a truck passing. Usually around 10, 11, I'll start to get bored with art and watch Netflix, watch a movie, listen to music with Alex, talk and joke, and then eventually go home. He's my roommate too, so we'll go home, laugh, talk, draw wieners on the boards, and then from there, go to sleep, wake up, rinse and repeat. Same thing until eventually one of these things pops up. Now, for the past week, it's been a little different. I've been working with the director on LMS. So I've been going down to the Warner Brothers lot. We're not doing the movie there. And just been working with him and his little station. And like we got LMS art all over the walls. We got story beats, and we've been trying to figure out what the movie is. And from there, just recently we pitched to one studio. They really thought it was cool, so we might be doing something with them. But we've been going around and just trying to make this thing work. So it's been a lot of fun days. This is a day that I've been waiting a long time for, because we've talked about it with studios, but never a director, and one that's like, let's move forward. And every day ends with, hey, are we going the way that you want it to go? And I'm like, that's the best part, is knowing that we have a movie that I'm happy with. So it's been cool.
Yeah, that's a packed schedule. That's where I guess.
I don't really go out. I don't really hang out. Like I was supposed to go to that Millman thing last night, but got too busy on LMS stuff and wasn't able to go. And I told Allison, I was like, you never have to worry about like an affair or anything unless I'm cheating on you with my computer, because I'm like I will totally betray anyone if it's for my work. And I don't mean like in a business way, but like I am just obsessed with like what I do here, and I really wanted to make it work. I'll party and have fun when all this stuff takes off, but for right now, I need to take it seriously. And that's not to say that I don't have like a good time every now and then, or go see a movie, or go do this and that. But like as much as I wanted to go out last night and get drunk, I mean, there's a time and a place for that.
Yeah, that's a really down-to-earth approach to executing your ideas, and I guess the most productive one. So I really support this approach. I'm really kind of in a similar way.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is that everyone's like, I want to be rich and I want to do this and that. And I was like, well, then do the good work. Like that will come. People seem to forget that if you do good stuff and people like it, the money will always be there. The moment you stop doing bad stuff, or you start getting uninspired and stop working on it, that's when you'll lose it. So like I want to get to a point where everything is working off, the money is coming in by the day, and then I can have fun. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to draw, but I'll still do art all the time. But at least I can relax, and I don't have to think, okay, is this going to work? Is that going to work? Are we going to do this and that? And then I can chill, and then I can respond to text messages and be like, yeah, let's get together, let's do it. But right now I can't.
Did you ever quit art? I know you partially answered that question, but did you ever quit art that it felt like you wouldn't go back to it? And if you did, what made you get back to it? What would be your advice to people that shouldn't quit, but are on the brink of doing that? So.
Okay, well, I'll try to answer this one from the gut. As a kid, art has been the only thing that I've ever been good at. Like it's something that, like I'm not saying I'm like the best guy out there or anything, but like I've always felt confident with it. And I don't know, like that's the thing that really weirds me out. And I'm not trying to call out this person asked the question, but when I look back at being a kid, there wasn't one point in my life that I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I've always known I wanted to be an artist. Specifically, did I know I'd want to make IPs one day? No. Like did I know I always wanted to work for a studio? Like don't get me wrong. It was through the inspiration of other people that led me to where I am today. But I've never been at a point where like I ultimately wanted to quit art and do something else. So while I can't really answer that, I can ask the question, why would you want to quit? Like why? What does that benefit you? Like really, if you're to quit, you're known as a quitter. That's it. That's where I draw the line. There's nothing else that goes with that answer. You're known as a quitter. You're known as someone that gave up. And someone that gives up, in my opinion, is weak. Now, there's people that have given up for circumstances, like my father. His dad passed away, like I said, at a young age, and he had to help raise his little brothers and help feed them and get a job that could support that. So I understand that. Do I question why he quit, and do I give him shit for quitting? Of course, all the time. And has he slowly started to pick it back up? Yes. But will he ever be where he once was? No. And I think that my dad was, like, I'll say it, I don't think anyone else would believe it, but I think he was at, like, Frazetta level. He showed me this one massive painting of this woman in, like, this, like, tiger garb fur thing. And she had this big spear on, like, a giant mountain. It was so badass. It was, like, almost life-size. And I was like, why did you stop? Like, you could have been so good. And you stopped. And now you just draw these, like, little silly cartoon faces. And I love my dad to death, but I'm like, you should have never given up. Because now every day you have to look back and go, why did I give up? And I never want to live with regret. So, I don't know. If you quit, that's your own thing. You might have your own reasons for quitting. But don't quit because you're not good enough. Then practice and become better. Like, that's the thing, is that with this generation, a lot of people want it now. They want the power now. They're not willing to bleed for everything that it took to get here. And, like, sorry to sidetrack, but, this relates with it. After LMS, I'm not going to name them, but if you're listening, a couple of artists were talking shit on me. And a few of my artist friends told me. And, they were going like, like they say that Dan doesn't deserve what happened with LMS. And, like, why did he get this and that? And, I'm not going to lie, it fucking hurt my feelings because I love those guys' work. And when I asked Allison about it, I was like, why would they say that? Like, I've never even talked to these guys before. I've never even met them. Like, why would they say it about me? What did I do? I didn't take money from their pockets. I didn't do any of that. And she was like, well, and she brought up a great question that I've now put back into the book. And that question was, she said, well, how many people were with you when you were working on this project? And I was like, no one. And then she's like, exactly. So how would anyone know what you've been through to get there? All these here are the pictures you put up of the book, the toys, the movie news, this and that, the success, the fame. But they don't know all the challenges you had to do to make it, and they never will. And that's the thing, is that a lot of artists don't want to go through that because they want it now. They see it, and it looks so pretty that it's like, I want it. I don't want to have to go through this shit to get there. And, like, maybe I got lucky because I did it in my early years, but I don't know. I kind of like this shit because all of that shit makes me realize how all good all this other stuff tastes. And it at least allows me to remain humble and, like, be able to experience that. And, like, I never forget where I came from or all the things that I had to do to get here. So when people quit because they're not good enough, I just see that as a sign of weakness. I'm sorry. Like, you should be able to, if you really want to quit and you're not good enough and you don't think you can get better, then go find something that you are good at and push towards that. Don't just quit and then be the guy that quit and then comment on everyone's stuff about how I wish I would have taken art seriously. Be the guy that took it seriously. Listen to me now. If you are drawing, listen to my fucking voice. Don't stop. Seriously, that's how easy it is. It's like, really, like for those people, because I'm sure there's people out there that are listening to this right now. Don't stop. It's going to get you nothing good. I can promise. I have seen people. I am friends with artists that stop. Yeah. It's just like that's all it is. People are like, what's the magic answer? Don't be a bitch. That's all it is. Life is so hard. It's real. And I hope it helps. Because, I wish I was told that when I was younger, It's like you need that. People need to be told to get back up and do something and make something of yourself. Because you don't want to be 45 one day. Looking back, looking at your dead-end job, going, I wish I was an artist. I wish I did what he was doing. I guess I'll just live vicariously through him. No, be that guy. So that's my little thing about it.
It's a voice of serious Papa Dan.
Yeah. I guess just now you motivated a whole bunch of people to just...
Well, I hope so, because, I don't know, I see all these people that, don't say these things, and I need to say it, because I was that person. I have literally been told to my face, you're not going to do this. I've had a best friend of mine tell me behind my back, or not say it to me, but behind my back say he's going to run LMS into the ground. I've had people say these things, and at those times, I needed someone to pick me back up. So I am trying to be that person that is picking you guys back up to be and say, do not stop. It is not going to benefit you no matter what. And I know it might just be words. I know it might be something you're going to forget in 15 minutes after this talk or after I'm done ranting, but you're going to regret it if you stop. Get better. Watch a fucking Gumroad. There's so many reasons why you should not quit. So if you quit, it's just a sign of weakness to me.
Yeah, it just shows that you just mentioned a lot of struggles and all those things that you had to go through and how it made you stronger and physically and mentally especially.
Dan, you made the chat just
it just blew up.
That's crazy. People are quoting Shia LaBeouf compared to your.
I think they will. I think they will quit the chat right now and they start painting and drawing. So it's good.
And that's what I'm all about. They're. I've had people go oh, he's just in it for the money and this. I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck about that. I don't even have a car. I don't have a car. I've had big money come in, and I did not buy myself a bunch of shit. I bought myself a Cintiq tablet, and I paid for my book to get made. I don't care about that stuff. I want to see artists happy. I want to see artists working hard. This is why I love going to these workshops and talking to these people. We're all on the same fucking level. A lot of artists come to me, young artists, and they're like, I can't believe you've been talking to me. I'm like, why wouldn't I? You're a human being first, before an artist. And that's what's most important. And that's what I told you guys before the chat is talking about the life side and about how important it is to stay strong, to stay motivated, and to have a set goal. It doesn't mean that you need to know your whole future, but just have one goal. If you're drawing and you're painting and you have a pen in your hand, you want to be a fucking artist. If you're playing an instrument, you want to be a musician. If you're sculpting clay, you want to be a sculptor. If you're doing ZBrush, you want to do digital sculpting. You know, like, so stick with it and work hard, be humble, be nice, support your surroundings, be part of the community, and it'll work out. That's all. That's all it takes.
Yeah, exactly. Time, hard work, devotion, sacrifice sometimes, but
I didn't have some sugar daddy come in and pay me to make the book. I didn't have him pay for the book. I had to go through all these challenges based on. So
actually, you had an opposite sometimes, right?
What's up?
You had an opposite coming to you, like pulling you down and trying to.
But it's like, I love that, because it's every time that happens, I look at it as life going, hey, how bad do you really want this? And I'm like, I want it fucking bad. So I'll go through it again. And then the second time, it's like, you sure? And I'm bleeding, but I'm like, yeah, I'll get back up. And then the third time, it's like, are you sure? My teeth are falling out, my body's falling apart. I'm like, yeah. You know, like, and that's what, you know, it sounds stupid, but that's why I love Gabriel so much. Because Gabriel is a symbol of gut. You know, like, I made him bulletproof for a reason. You know, the theme of LMS is how far are you willing to go to reach your goal before eventually that goal kills you. And that's what Gabriel's doing. And I want Gabriel to kind of be an icon of that. He's not just some drawing to me. He's a symbol. And, you know, like, I want that symbol to be for all artists that are inspired to push forward, prove it to all those naysayers. You know, there's 3 types of people in this world. There's A-types, and those are the people that I want to surround myself with. And I don't mean A-types like alpha males, like those assholes. I mean A-types that will work really hard. And then you have B-types that are talented, but they're uninspired. They don't have motivation. And then you have C-types, which I call sea slugs. They're at the bottom of the ground, sucking up all the bullshit that we kind of push off. And those are the people that will always try to hold you back, the people that always tell you no, the people that aren't inspired. And I don't want to be with those people. I want to be with the A-types. I want to be with the people that are like, fuck yeah, let's build an army of us artists and let's make something. Seeing what happened at the end of LMS when all those artists got around and did all those books, given I'm biased because it was for my book, but seeing that and seeing all these amazing talent come together, that's what I want for every artist. I want, like, dude, we're a fucking community. Supporting each other and building each other. I don't know why this stuff isn't talked about more often. It's sad.
That's true. It's often skipped due to technical skills, like those would get you there. But once you have those, it's actually not that hard to get those right now. I mean,
well, yeah, no, you can get that everywhere. But, like, you know, like, the thing is when I put up my Gumroad, I did one on how to build your IP. I talk about this whole thing I just gave you guys. That was the least popular out of, like, all of them. And I was like, you guys, listen, like, I gave it for free too. And I was like, you know, like, this is one half of the battle that no one talks about. And it should be talked about more. I want to see other life stories about these artists. Like AJ. AJ has a great story. Jamaro Kindred has a great story. A lot of these artists have been through such shit to get to where they are today. That only makes them stronger. Like, you know, like, I look at a lot of these guys I look up to, like John Lasseter, you know, the head of Pixar. He was sleeping under his desk before he ever got Pixar. And it's like, you know, like, I look at that, and then I see myself sleeping under my desk. I'm like, I have to be doing something right. Like, you know, like, I have to be on the right road. You know, like, so I think that stuff is very important because, like you said, the chat was blowing up. Good, I'm glad. You know, like, I want you guys to get fucking riled up and go and paint something and build something and see it through. But please don't do a disservice to yourself. Paint one picture and then go, oh, man, I don't want to do this again. All right, back to this. And then forget about it. Like, if you're really going to do it, and then prove it to me. And then one day when I see it, we can high-five and bro out and drink and have fun and do all that. But right now, I want to see more people going that extra mile.
Yeah, how would you, because let's say you are the B-type, right? But let's say you're working and you are talented, you have a lot of skill, you could do it. But it's hard to break from B to A, right? How would you go there? Like, you're established, you're getting work, but you want something more. What happens then? Like, what would be your first step? Like,
okay, so
quitting work?
Okay, so yeah, so just to go back on the question. The question is, if you're working at a studio but you need something more, what do you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have friends like that. I won't name them, but I have friends that have felt that way. You know, like, you know, I don't mind naming AJ because he's doing fine. But AJ, when he first hit me up, He was working over, I think, he might have been at Blizzard. He was somewhere. And he hit me up, and he was like, hey, I saw what you did with LMS, and I really want to do it with my voice.
With that voice, exactly.
So I was like, yeah, let's grab lunch and let's talk. So he was like, yeah. He's like, I'm at this studio, but I'm not happy. He's like, I want my own thing. And then I was like, all right, well, this is my advice I give every artist. I was like, work at the studio, make good money, save up that money. In the meantime, work on your property. If you really want it, then you should have no problem doing it right when you get home. So you wake up the next morning and have to go back to work. And then keep doing that until you have enough to go out and pitch. Now, you can either do it through me, which AJ and I are going to be doing together, or you can do it through yourself. And when it comes to yourself, like, you're pitching your own IP, I mean, that's on you. Like, I don't have any rules for how to get your own stuff out on your own. Either you can find a producer, you can make a short video like David Levy did, like you can build up a Kickstarter, you can build up an audience and start to, until you have something and then go to a publisher, you can do an online comic. Like, there's so many ways that you can go about it, but the thing is that you just have to do it. The problem is when you get into a studio and you're making good money, you get comfortable, and you have a family, and that's what I see with a lot of artists that come to me is that they have families. So it's like, I got to pay for my family, and I understand family comes before art. If you have a kid, like I always say that having a kid would be the only thing that would stop me from being who I am today. And so if you have a family, you got to take care of them and do what you need to do for them. But if you're on your own, then like go out there and just do what it takes. There's no right answer. Like, again, it's all in perseverance. It's all in dedication. How bad do you really want it? Because there's talking and then there's doing. I don't like talking.
There you go. I think that's the point when I think we could. There's some stuff you showed us just before the chat that we could see, and the work you did, and maybe see you working on some of these. And yeah, I think that was one of the most inspirational talks we have ever had here on Level Up. So thank you so much for that. I mean, I'm not ending the session. I'm just thanking you for being so expressive about it. Because, sometimes it's really hard to get that vibrant conversations going online. So that's really great that we have that fire burning. And yeah, I guess it's time to see some. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what I saw just before the session. That creeps me out. So that's pop culture, right?
Yeah, this is pop culture. Pop culture was an inspiration of taking a lot of my childhood, characters from TV shows and movies, and kind of adding, obviously, like a dark twist on it. But what I liked about it is back to that celebrity side about how child celebrities can be kind of corrupted and turned into something. And I kind of wanted to do that same theme, but with children's cartoon characters and movies and all of that stuff, but then adding my own little stories with them. But yeah, this is one that I'm doing right now, Snow White, and then I have Wolverine right here that I've been working on.
These are amazing.
Thanks, man. But then, so what do you guys want me to do? You want me to draw something? You want me to... I don't know how much time I have on these.
As much as you want, man.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe let's see what...
I can start something. Let me see if I have anything in the pop culture folder that hasn't been painted yet, and we can go from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's where actually people on the chat started asking, oh, we should clone Dan, make him talk, and then make the second one draw. Yeah, so...
I'm trying to find an old picture that I haven't started yet. A lot of these I've started. Okay, so a lot of these I've started. Is there any like cartoon characters they want me to draw or something? I can just show you my process.
I would say, okay, chat. Now it's returned. Chat is now this is now returned. Just cartoon character you would love Dan to draw. Oh, Dan was kicked. What the hell? Guys, have you seen that?
No, yeah, he's not here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a moment that I guess, Darek, please message Dan or you're going to try it out. And yeah, people in the chat, let's figure out what Dan could draw for us today. I guess that could be a cartoon character. That'll be awesome. So, go, go, go. We're waiting for, I guess, 1 minute. We'll get Dan back on the show, and we will try. Shia LaBeouf. That's not a cartoon character. Come on.
Kind of is, though.
Yeah, right now.
These days, yes.
Yeah, we have you back. Okay, so I asked people in the chat to figure out the character you could draw. So actually, if you take a look at the chat, you have a bunch of people. Now, chat is flooding with ideas, so pick whatever you want.
Okay, let me make sure I don't click the wrong thing.
Someone says Ren and Stimpy, but it's funny because Ren and Stimpy's already kind of messed up. So it'd be the opposite.
Okay, so let me go to the chat. For some reason, I can't see the chat.
If you go,
oh, there it is. Okay, I'll do. Let's do Pikachu. That'll be fun.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, let me get it.
Donald Trump. Jesus Christ. I love our community.
Did you see that Donald Trump application that you paint with his face? Like the brush strokes?
No,
Actually, you can create the pictures with it.
No, I haven't seen that.
Let me just restart Photoshop real quick because I haven't restarted my.
That's fine.
There's one I'm doing of the 3 hyenas from Lion King.
Oh, no.
Oh, here's a funny one that I had.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Tweety bird flying at him. Actually, this should be fine. All right.
I just love to destroy people's childhoods with these.
That's the best.
Yeah, right.
All right, so usually I'll start off with like a sketch.
Excuse me?
Wait, I hear a repeat or echo.
Okay, should be fine now. Okay, let's go, Pikachu. So is that your usual workflow for pop culture? Like starting with line art, then filling in the shapes and the usual stuff?
Yeah, I'll usually just draw it until it starts to look right, and then I'll enjoy what I have. And then I'll start to just fill it in with color. I work right from color, which I'll show. Let's get some shapes in there.
Oh, okay, that would be creepy. Oh yes, that would be creepy. It reminds me of the drawing session we had just before we started it.
That tongue is phallic.
Do you dream of that stuff, or where does it even start?
No. Think about the opposite. I mean, I don't know where this stuff comes. I'm really into weird shit, you know, like believe it or not. And I don't know. I like pushing the weird. You see too much, like, you know, when you look at fan art, it always looks cool, or let's make a Disney princess sexy. Like, you're like, I don't know, that's just boring to me. We've seen it 1,000 times. Let's do something a little different. That's you know, weird and trippy. So yeah, when it comes to these guys.
Was there one piece that started pop culture, like it was with LMS?
No. It was with, I drew Yoshi, and then yeah, just from there it kind of started. I forgot why I was drawing him. I think probably just to get like some attention on my shit again. But once I did, I was like, oh, this could actually be kind of fun. And then from there, I did the Bert and Ernie one, and that one kind of just blew up. And then let's get some like weird wart things on his. One thing that I learned recently is that I don't do detailed line art anymore. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, you get to a spot where it's like it doesn't really matter. You can paint all that shit again. So that's one thing that's kind of
speeds you up.
Yeah, it's helped out a lot. Okay, so now this is good enough to start coloring. Actually, let's make his arms a little shorter. I mean, you know, I gotta get a little weird right here.
Oh God.
Oh, that's a what a thing. Oh shit.
Okay, so then from there, oh man, I didn't make it as a new layer. So I'll set that as multiply, so I have my lines.
Oh yeah, that fail with the liner. Been there.
There you go. And then now I can start to color it.
That's some really sick Pikachu.
It's not even done. It's not even done. So
feel free to like ask questions. Talking on my own while I do this, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. So we have asked questions from the poll, but guys, we want to hear you now. So if you're watching it live, please ask put your question to the chat with the big question thing, so we will see it, and yeah, we could get it to work right now. So go ahead.
Awkward silence.
Oh, it's all good.
It's a painting silence, dude.
I know. And I'm just reading the comments.
Ah, okay.
So right now,
people are really into what you are doing and what you are talking, Dan. So we just shade the basic forms first with blocked colors.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. It'll get cooler.
Okay, I have the first question. First question. What's your favorite Pokemon?
I'm not really into Pokemon.
There you go. A second question. The most loved question ever. What brushes?
What? Just mine.
Yeah. You don't even have to answer that, dude. That's just.
Yeah, I'll give it to you guys at the end of the whole thing.
There you go. Brushes lovers.
Yeah, it's the time for those people. But just apart from this, if you create the stuff for your IP, and so like let's say this kind of picture, and if you wanted to get it to the level of details as your LMS pictures and other pop culture ones, usually approximately how much time do you need to make it finalized?
Time-wise, I don't know. I mean, I usually, if I really wanted to render this all out, I could get it done in probably like a day or two.
Oh, cool.
That's like if I really wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
People are asking about redemption.
What's up?
Yeah, exactly. What's up?
So right now redemption is with the guys that did Fast and the Furious movies. They're looking at it. They're trying to put a writer on it, and then from there, hopefully, we can get a director. We do have one in mind that could be interested. Could be cool. And then from there, hopefully, get it made. You know, like with those type of things, I don't really try to get my hopes up anymore. You know, like I'm not like how I used to be, where I was like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. Now I'm just like, whatever. If it happens, it happens. So the ball's in their court. You know, like they They're the ones that are working on it. But, I mean, it could be cool. I got a cool idea for it that I would like to eventually show and talk about.
So, who are your biggest inspirations in the movie business? Like your favorite directors, your favorite movies that.
Favorite director? Steven Spielberg, Tarantino, Martin Scorsese. Who else do I like a lot? Obviously Cameron, Brad Bird. I really like. Did The Incredibles. I don't know. Like just anyone that does cool shit. Like people that do fun stories that aren't garbage movies. Like that's what we see a lot of. It's a lot of the same old.
What do you consider a garbage movie?
A garbage movie? Like The Transporter.
Okay. So where does it fail? Visuals, story? Like what do you hate the most? What would you change?
Just to make money. Now I know that sounds stupid because aren't all movies made to make money, but it feels like at least some movies are given a little more heart than what The Transporter would be. It just feels like a boring idea. It feels like some bro walked in and was like, hey, what if we had some cool-looking guy with girls all around him? He's beating people up and driving a car. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not into that shit. So that would be boring to me. But then you have movies that have potential that are not good. I'm trying to think of something that could be. What's something that we all got our hopes up for and it wasn't that great? Like, look at the sequels to The Matrix, right? Like, we all wanted to love those, and that didn't work out. But then you have some movies where I'll see, and I just walk out going, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like Children of Men, or, like Star Wars the first time. Like, like I want to make stuff like that. So I'm not really into those, like, just quick make-a-buck movies anymore.
Oh, there's some interesting question regarding preparation before you start painting, and I will let myself extend it a little bit. If you go through designing all the characters from LMS, your stuff, did you first build mood boards or something that helps you just getting the ideas of the armor look, of the weapons look, or the whatever, just something that keeps you on track with your inspiration, or you just go on the flow and without the refs, without the research, or how does it look? How do you prepare yourself to design like your unique stuff that for your own IPs?
Really just went on the flow. Like, it just came to me as I did it. I I looked at a lot of inspiration in like fashion and stuff like that, but I didn't look at like concept art. Like that was actually the opposite. I was looking at things from like back in the day, stuff that I liked. But as for like the actual designs, I don't know. Like just really came from, I guess, just the head.
No, just as cool.
Yeah.
That's the most hilarious question I have ever read. If you could punch anybody in the face, who would be?
A lot of people, but
you don't have to answer that.
I know, but I'm trying to think. Donald Trump, yeah. I don't know. There's no one I would really. I'm not really an aggressive guy. I've never even been in a fight in my life. But just people that are shitty, negative people. I don't have time for it. I see a lot of it on Facebook. A lot of negative people that just like thrive off that stuff. And yeah, those are the people I want to hit. Don't be stupid. Like if you're on Facebook, you have the ability to go on Facebook, there's nothing you should be bitching about. Sure, you might have problems, or sure, you might be using Facebook to talk about certain world events. I'm not talking about people like that. But I just see some artists that are just so like negative, and every post is about either this or that, and I don't like this or that. I'm like, dude, like I block those people. I don't want to see that shit all the time. So yeah, but I don't know if I'd really punch anyone. Now, you mess with my cats? Yeah.
Ooh, that's another story.
Yeah.
How do you feel about superhero movies that are coming out, like Marvel and all that?
Like, look, am I bored with them? Yeah. Well, I see them opening day? Yeah. So, I don't know. But I think what I want from superhero movies is that I want to be challenged more. I'm really, really tired of the doomsday device and the massive army that we got to fight. So come on, man. Like, we've seen that. How many times are we going to watch the Avengers save the world? I would rather have a character that's like, I don't care about the world, or a villain that's like, I don't care about the world. I want to destroy the Avengers. Like, I want them dead, and I'll do whatever it takes, even if I have to turn them against each other. That's what a villain is to me. Like, Age of Ultron was so boring. Like, I hated Ultron. He was such a boring villain. And I actually had high hopes for that. I thought he was going to be cool. But it was just another, like, I'm going to destroy the world. I'm going to use some weird, wacky design that I've been building somehow. And, like, that's the stuff that's boring me. And so I'm hoping that they can fix that throughout the next 500 movies they're doing in the next 2 years. So we'll see. But, I don't know. I'm just kind of over it. I'm excited for Star Wars. I'll watch Star Wars movies all day.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love how they're going with practical effects and, like, I don't know how does it work, but it looks like they're listening to what everyone wants.
Well, that's it. That's why I don't make money. That's what
exactly.
And that's what hopefully students will wake up.
Yeah, but we are used to this blindness to, like, inability of the studios to read.
Yeah.
People's desires, especially about sequels.
There are people that will get on those message boards and see what people are into. But what happens is the studio gets involved and they're like, well, I don't know if I like that. What's some fan gonna know? And it's just like, damn it, just listen to them. Make the movie they want to see, and it'll do well. Make sure it's good, obviously. But the people that are putting money into these movies, I understand why they get a say, and it makes sense. But at the same time, I'm like, do you need to have a say in it? Because you see so many cool movies that lose potential. The reason why Star Wars works, or it's going to work, is because you have a director on there that wants to make the best thing that they can make it. But then, who knows if that magic will continue to stay?
Yeah.
Because for all we know, we might get to a place where it's like, oh man, fuck Star Wars movies. Like, we have to see another one, and I don't want that day to come.
Yeah, it looks like there will be a lot of them coming.
There's gonna be a bunch. There's gonna be one every year by 2016.
Yeah, that's true. Rogue One, then the 8th episode, then again, and the Star Wars story, and again, Star Wars 9. So I guess we are getting flooded with that.
Yeah, and maybe that's good. I'm down for it if they continue to tell fun stories. And I would say the same thing with Marvel, but I just feel like we're seeing the same thing over and over again. Now, given the new heroes that they're talking about, like, I'm actually really into the Black Panther character. I hope that's cool. And I want to see Captain Marvel. I want to see all that other stuff. I just don't want to see any more Avengers. But then that's what Civil War is about.
Yeah.
I just want good movies. That's all.
Yeah. Watch and make good movies. That's the ultimate goal of yours, I guess. That'll be awesome. Like, I can't wait for the day that I will be able to go to the cinema here in fucking Poland and watch LMS.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Dude, yeah, that's end of the world.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm trying to get to too. Like my girlfriend is talking to me about it, and she's like, "What's it going to be like that first day when we're sitting in the theater and the teaser comes on for the movie?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna fucking shit my pants and cry at the same time. That'll be crazy." But then, I was talking to Ash about it, and he's like, yeah, right, you're probably going to go, now what's next? What else can I do? And I'm like, maybe. Maybe that won't be enough. And I think there's the question, when is it enough?
Yeah.
When can you sit back and chill and not worry, or not, always have to compete? I don't know. I don't know if that day will come. Maybe, like I said, after I have a kid. I've always wanted to have kids, so maybe that'll be it.
Yeah, start of the whole new journey.
Yeah, No, I think like kids are amazing, and being an artist, what is like we create art all the time. What is it like to create a human body? Like that. That must be one of the most beautiful experiences ever.
Yes, it's such a surreal. Yeah, I cannot imagine that now, but.
Like Ash was telling me, he was like, the moment you have a kid, that's when you become a man, because you're no longer working for yourself, you're working to feed someone else. And I was like, hey, I feed 2 cats every day. I gotta stress out for those bastards. No, but all seriousness, like I would love to. You see how I am with my cats. I would love to have kids, but that's another. Allison, don't give me any ideas. So now you can start to see Pikachu coming to life.
Yeah, you're really, really fast. Like, that was like, what, 15 minutes? Yeah, not even. So I guess that all that hard work is getting out in...
Oh, this is like not even, I mean, this is
yeah, I know.
like how quick. Like here, let me show you guys something, because I never really get to talk about this stuff. So people always ask me, like, why do you put so much details in your picture? Like, what's the point? No one's going to be able to see it. And then I always argue it going, well, would that picture be the picture you're looking at without those details? So you have something like this, right? And while this is the only picture that you guys will... Or
Hello?
Hello?
No, again.
Fuck. No, he's still here.
That's one of the... Oh, Jesus Christ, that's creepy.
That's awesome. I think that there's some lag or delay. I feel I can even hear myself.
Yeah, let's wait. Let's wait.
Jonas is sleeping probably.
Yeah. So guys, it was really hard to arrange this session for us because we had to deal with 3 different time zones. Me and Darek, we are in Poland. Jonas is in Tokyo, and Dan obviously is in California. So it's 3 really different time zones that we had to meet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess Jonas can sleep now. No, I'm kidding. He's obviously awake, but he's just not talking. Casually not talking.
So level up.
Where is Dan?
Yeah, let me message him again.
Yeah. So guys, if you're watching this video and you're into what we are doing, please like this video, share it with your friends. If you got motivated, probably your art friend will get motivated as well, as we are getting motivated talking to Dan as well. So
yeah, definitely one of the best stuff from our guests.
Make sure to subscribe. We have tons of these videos here on the channel. We just recently did an interview, pretty brief and short, but still an interview with Craig Mullins. And we have tons of knowledge on the channel. It's a little bit spread out and casually served, so don't worry about that. It's just, yeah, really laid off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here he dropped off for good.
Oh, nice. That's like going back to these first sessions when we couldn't really manage anything.
It was really stable for a while.
I love how Jonas is just not talking.
I know.
He just fucking fall asleep. Okay, where is Dan? Dan, where are you? Dan, goddammit. I want that Pikachu to be finished.
Come back, bitch.
Yeah. No.
Oh, yes. People are making lots of fun and jokes on the chat.
Okay, let's give it like 2 minutes, and if it's not going to work, I think we can wrap up, but...
Yeah. Oh wait, he just saw my message, so...
Okay, that's good. Yeah, exactly. We have to cut the audio. Oh, there you go. And back again.
Good thing you guys could hear how much I was just cussing back there. I was freaking out on my internet. All right. So back at it.
There you go. I think the people from the chat have a really inspiring idea of cutting your audio, like from the inspiring talk, and putting it on top of the really epic music. That would be, and yeah, like 10 hours loop. That would be an ultimate.
The ultimate. Yeah. I'm all about preaching to the choir.
Oh, wait.
Sorry, to those that don't know, we have construction being done around us that the internet here sucks. Okay, so now what I can do is
There's an interesting question. You talked about your journey, finishing LMS, becoming a hermit, and doing nothing else. But how did you come back from that? I mean, becoming a normal person again. It never happened, right?
So, yeah, I mean
yeah.
I still am that hermit in a way, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, like, the question is, how did I come back and like become normal? Like, I haven't. You know, like, I'm still just as mad as I was, and I don't mean mad like angry, but as I was when I first started this. You know, like, I don't think there is going back to the normal, at least not yet. Like, you know, like, there's moments where I feel really calm and collected, and I can hear myself think, and it reminds me of my childhood. Do you remember being a kid when you only had one problem? And that problem was usually, does this girl like me? Oh my God, I have a pimple. Oh, this outfit doesn't look good. Or I got to go to the dentist in 2 weeks. Remember when just having one problem lasted a month? So now, when you grow up as an adult, I have problems that last all year. Like, all these things going on, so I don't get to chill out and like really calm down. That's going to require, you know, a safety net. You know, like, so I don't have to focus on this stuff all the time. And to get there, I got to get all this stuff to work out. So I haven't really calmed down yet. You know, I'm getting there.
I feel like this kind of anger can, like, people tend to say like negative feelings shouldn't feed you, or it's destructive to be fed by these type of things. But I also feel like having that type of being mad at something, but it's not like you want to hurt anybody. It's just
I don't even see mad. I think it's being like. Do you mean like the reason why I'm doing this?
No, not totally. I just mean having the fuel to get up every day and do it over and over again so obsessively.
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to be the best. You know, like I want to be amongst the best. You know, like I want to leave something. I mean, I don't know. Like that's the goal that I've always had. There's this really good song that I've played before. I put it on by this artist called Lil Dicky. He's a rapper. And the music video is called Professional Rapper. And the reason why I like this song so much, well, I should actually back up. I like hip-hop a lot, not because it's about like the glitz and glamour of that life, but the really good rappers rap about growing up from nothing and how hard it is to get to where you want to get to. And, you know, like, so that song really illustrates what I want to do. And the thing is that I'm not looking to, you know, make tons of money and have a nice sports car one day and do that and this. This is not why I do it. I do it because, you know, like this is what I love doing and I want to be known for it. So I've never really looked at this as like, you know, like a problem, but just the problem is trying to get to that point where I don't have to stress out over it every day. And, you know, like I can live off of it and go like, all right, you've gotten there, you've done it. But then even Ash once asked me, he was like, but haven't you gotten there? Like, you know, like think about, like, you know, like, and I don't mean this in a bragging sense, but I reached all of my, like, quote-unquote life goals before I was 30. I did everything I want to do, work on a movie, work on a comic book, you know, and then one day have my own toy and one day have my own book. And I got those. But the thing is that, like, that's not enough for me. Now I want to take it to the next level. Now I want to see that character realize. I want to give what I had and give it to other artists now and let build their careers. I want to be the one smiling, telling an artist to turn around and look at their new statue. So it's always like a new challenge that I'm facing every day, just figuring it out as it goes on. If that confusingly answers that question.
Yeah, there's really there is that thing that Steve Jobs said, I believe, that was stay hungry and stay foolish.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like having this hunger is really important.
It
like
is.
not settling and feeling like a winner. It's just such a brief feeling.
That was good.
Yeah.
But you gotta feel it, like don't feel like a winner for someone else. Feel like it for yourself, I mean, who doesn't like they succeeded? Why else are you showing your eyes at?
Okay, let's give Pikachu another 10 minutes, and I think we will be wrapping up then. Do you feel like 10 minutes will be enough? Just to...
I mean, I can draw till whenever. This is on you guys.
Yeah, I think 10 minutes will be okay, and we can ask like 3 final questions from the chat. Yeah, there are some really technical ones going through. Okay, there's one about games. What's the best and most inspirational game you have ever played?
Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation. It was just Metal Gear Solid. Or was it? Like, what was it called? I mean, it had a subtitle. One of your Solid Snake. It was just tactical espionage. Yeah, it was just Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid is probably one of the most inspiring games I've ever played. The first day I played it, I lost my shit. I've never been that excited for a game, and I wish I could feel that again. But I remember putting it in, turning it on, and that first level where you sneak onto Shadow Moses, I think it was, and it's all snowing, all the guards everywhere. I was like, this is it. I'm experiencing something. And I have drawn a lot of inspiration from Metal Gear for LMS. I mean, except LMS is more like a satire of it. But yeah, I love Metal Gear. Some other games, Halo 1. Playing Halo 1 with my friend on co-op for the first time. Like, that was an amazing experience. What other games have I played that have like changed? Grand Theft Auto. I mean, I can't give enough respect to Rockstar. Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption or Grand Theft Auto 5 are like two of my favorite games. Just because the level of OCD and the detail that they put into that is what I strive to do with my paintings and my work. That was really cool.
Yeah, I haven't played Red Dead Redemption. I really look forward to it because I like The Witcher 3 so much. It feels
like that. Yeah.
A lot of people are comparing these two.
It's so good. It's just such a beautiful game and so detailed and so much to do, and the ending is just awesome. Yeah, that was a great game. But then other than that, like Mario was always a big fan favorite of mine growing up. I wouldn't say I had the same love for it that I did as a kid. Half-Life, obviously, the first one, was a big thing for me. I wanted to play Half-Life so bad that I used to get this magazine called PC Accelerator. It would come with a little video demo of Half-Life, and I would lie to my best friend and be like, "That's me playing the game. I got a chance to play it." Like, that's how I wanted it. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I hate to admit it, but games have become kind of like a job now. Like Phantom Pain is a really cool Metal Gear game, but fuck, you gotta do so much shit in it and micromanage soldiers. Like, I did one mission where my soldiers got a virus and they started dying. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I want to play the game. I want to have fun.
It's not my problem.
Yeah, I want to go solve an epidemic. What is this? So shows that can get a little tedious, but like Witcher, I would love to play that 5-6 years ago. But I'm like, I just don't have the time to get so involved in such, and it's a beautiful game, so detailed and so awesome and so much to do. But it's like, do I spend my time doing that and then walk away from it and go, what did I get out of that? Yeah, I got an experience, but couldn't I have got that experience at any point in my life? You know, so that's one of the things I've been trying to deal with recently.
Yeah, games are getting so ridiculously long. I mean, so much more involved. Like they require so much more involvement out of you compared to a movie, for example, which is condensing like a catharsis, story catharsis of some sort in 2 hours. Let's say, at least trying to get you something out of it. If you're getting for a good one, then obviously, hopefully, you will walk out a little bit with something new in your mind. But with a game, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit less linear, right? Especially with the open world games, when you're really a director of your own experience.
But then, let's be honest. Why can't they just make simple games anymore? Like, you know, like why can't we get those 8-hour single-player stories? So it feels like, okay, I finished something. I made something that, like, that's why I love Uncharted games and Naughty Dog, because it feels like the new one that's coming out, and having a few friends over at Naughty Dog, I've seen some of the stuff that they've been working on. Like, dude, like that's a game that I can play, I can pick up, I can have a lot of fun with it. Like, I still remember playing the old Uncharted games and how amazing those were the first time.
Or The Last of Us, right? That was like a really condensed movie-like experience, but just with enough of the gameplay to get you really play and involved.
But then, you know, like, and yeah, like I totally agree with you. And much to their credit, but then why can't I play Grand Theft Auto for like 45 hours and still have fun with it to this day? Like, that game came out, what, almost 3 years ago? I still play it religiously. And like, and maybe it's because I can just get off real quick, pump a few shells, and then go back to drawing, and I'm okay. But I don't know. Like, I respect games like that.
Yeah. I guess I have the ultimate question that I have to ask you, which is, would you rather be a Godzilla or a billionaire, and why?
Would I rather be a gorilla?
Or a billionaire, and why?
Like, literally a gorilla, like the animal?
Godzilla.
Oh. Wait, so Godzilla like the dragon?
Godzilla like Godzilla.
Yeah. I'd probably be a billionaire.
Why is that? Why not Godzilla? God damn it! You could smash things.
Yeah, but I'm not a destructive guy. I would rather be a billionaire, make projects with my friends, than be a dragon that everyone hates.
There you go. Okay, that's the answer. Good enough. We ask it to every artist that is in here. Yeah.
Has anyone ever said Godzilla?
Of course, there was tons of Godzillas. I guess the ratio is half. I guess.
Yeah, I think it's around the half.
What's the benefit of being Godzilla?
You can smash all the things.
Yeah, but you're alone, and yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think that was the Matt coach, I guess, that said that Godzilla can't get laid down. And that's why he couldn't pick up her. So.
Yeah, that's a really extreme example. Yep.
Yeah, probably do that. It's like saying, would you rather make a lot of money or do you want to be a piece of toast? Well, I mean, I guess. Did you guys like the Godzilla movie?
I haven't really seen that, but I've been told that Godzilla is just
the new one, right?
Briefly in there, like from the half
I don't
part.
think it's the worst thing ever, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been better. It's still better than the 99 one, definitely. Like, no comparison. But,
yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't like, oh my god. You guys hear that they're doing Godzilla versus King Kong?
No.
Yep, well, they are. They recently brought the Godzilla rights over to Universal. Now they want to release Godzilla 2, Skull Island, and then have the two fight.
It looks like there will be a lot of over-the-top movies coming out.
Yeah.
Eventually what's going to happen is Netflix will be a home for dramas, comedies, and quick movies, so you don't have to put them in theaters anymore. And then what's going to happen is the theaters will be used for like tentpole films, like superhero movies, big Jurassic Park, that type of stuff. That's the way I see it, John.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Last hope.
And then, you know, like they'll put movies out if they want them to get awards real quick in the theaters for like a limited run. But I don't see, which is kind of a shame, man. Because, like, do you guys remember when horror movies were coming out all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, there was horror movies on Valentine's Day. There was horror movies during Christmas.
And they're all the same.
Yeah, why is there 500 Saw movies? And then, you know, like, eventually Paranormal Activity, and then you had all that crap. So, like, what's going to start to happen? Yeah.
You know what? You know what? If there is something that has a potential and it finally hit the audience, it will be replaced many times, and it just gets really like a, you know, shit that is getting really boring. And it happens all the time with everything. So.
And it's going to happen with superheroes, because eventually, how many things can you really do with them?
Yeah.
But who knows?
Someone said Godzillionaire. Best answer. Godzillionaire. I don't know how it would work. Like what, Godzilla with money, or?
If the military paid him to work for them.
Okay. All right. Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, that was one of the most inspirational talks we have ever had here. And thank you for your enthusiasm, for sharing your whole journey with us. And I bet people will love that. So thank you so much for also giving us insight into your workflow with this beautiful creature that you just drew. So yeah, thank you so much. Jonas is not here, so yeah, I thank you from Jonas.
Dark. What happened to him? Here you go.
I don't know, dude. It's like 2:30 a.m. in Tokyo. I don't blame him. So.
He say goodbye, that son of a bitch.
Yeah. Exactly. You can punch him in the face.
Let him sleep.
It's all good. Thanks, guys, for having me. It's been a long time coming, so here, let me draw one little thing before I get in.
Okay.
No, the most disgusting part. The end. Jesus Christ. Why this red? I thought it would be white. It
had to happen, man.
Oh yeah, speculars.
Gotta get that little reflective light in there. And then let's make it a little bloody. Just.
Oh God, you're good at it. Oof. No.
Work on this one's good.
Oh Jesus, no. Okay, you hit the spot.
Alright, guys. Thanks for having me, and then yeah. Till next time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you all.
I know this is off topic, but are you guys going to be at IFCC next year?
Yes, I think we are going to.
I think that we will be doing Level Up, yeah.
Cool. I'll finally get to meet you guys.
Yeah,
awesome.
we have.
Yeah, Croatia was awesome this year. Yeah, next year is going to be even more amazing. Yeah, that's what I heard from Marco. So, yeah, Dan, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meeting you again. And guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to spread the word about Level Up. Share it with your friends. If you got inspired, like I said, your friends or, I don't know, anyone will get inspired as well. So spread the word, subscribe, hit that like button if you like what we are doing. If you look for feedback or you're looking for getting your work on the next level, make sure to check out our Facebook group. There's a lot of people sharing out there. There are some good critiques that are happening, so yeah, you can benefit from that as well. So thank you guys again, and see you soon. We will be announcing the next session really soon, so yeah. See you guys, bye.
Bye-bye.